And we are live. What is going on, everyone? Happy Friday. I hope you're having a great start to your weekend. Welcome back to the Cylon Johns and Jills Network. I am Johnny B. Crazy. Today we will be talking about Season 2, Episode 8, Final Cut. And what an episode it was. I seem to be saying this every week, but this is a real mind frack. Uh, my resident expert and co-host, John St. Baptiste, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing well now that I've got all my things all sorted. Had a bit of an emergency earlier tonight, but it's all been worked out, so I'm doing well, and I'm very excited to talk about this episode this evening.
And too much personal info already. No, I'm just kidding.
So that's
Glad to
why
have
we're
you on,
late.
my friend.
I'm telling everybody that's why we're late.
No, it's fine. You didn't even have to do that. I was just telling him it's whose fault is it? It's Bobby's fault.
It's your fault, Bobby.
It's
Okay.
not my fault.
Without further ado, I will introduce the Cylon Jills. First, we have Mackenzie L. Burns, aka Sasa, aka Ken Sasa, aka Cylon Jill number 2, aka a bunch of other things that I can't remember at the moment. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, Johnny. It's a pleasure to be here as always. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about this crazy episode. And we get a new Cylon in this episode, so
You said that like you weren't sure about it. I don't know.
who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. I
What?
have no idea what that means, but no, John, I can't even say like my backup joke to that without getting in trouble. Let's cut it now to the great Maester Maker. Hashtag handmade by Bobby. Hashtag finger things. Don't know why I associated this with Bobby, but how's it going on? How's it going on? How are you doing tonight, Bobby Catalano?
I'm doing just fine. Thanks, Johnny. How are you doing?
I'm
Hi,
doing
everyone.
great. Thanks for asking. You know, you're the first person to ask that tonight, so I see who my real friends are. Amy True, how is it going tonight?
I'm good. There's not much else that would make me get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. So,
Fracking awesome episode, Will, though. And we
yes.
so greatly appreciate you coming out here. And your thoughts are priceless. So you're
Well, I've got notes
invaluable.
this week as well. So I was flying with no notes last week, but I've got notes this time. So
She's got notes, everyone. Hashtag prepared.
expect waffling and
Oh,
as
goodness.
usual.
Without further ado,
There are many models, and she has notes.
totes my goats with notes. Clarissa, aka Randy, aka Butterknife. I don't know where I came up with that from. Clarissa Thompson. Last but not least, by any means, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Nice to see everybody again this week. And I'm really excited to talk about this. Lucy Lawless. I love Lucy Lawless. I follow her on Twitter. I love Lucy Lawless.
Waiting for the shield and the sword to come out.
Cena?
Oh,
I haven't
man, I
worn
forgot
that
how tall she
costume
was.
yet.
She towers over everyone. Them eyes, though,
And she
steely
picks
blue.
house. I think she's like my height, isn't she? Like
She's close.
She's a rather tall woman.
Yeah, well, I think I'm the same height as her. We're both about 5'10".
I thought she was taller than that. Like I'm a lot more than 5'10".
No, yeah, she's taller than that. She was taller than everybody in the scene, even Ty. And Ty's pretty tall.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's why she was cast as Xena.
You know, she
Diana
used to be a
Pierce.
gold miner.
Whoa.
I just want to give a special shout out to Julianne89. We have a special announcement coming very soon. As soon as we get a few more people in here. What is going on, Robbie Wartburg? Consider yourself entered into the giveaway. and stay tuned to find out what that giveaway is. Ooh, I'm such a tease. I'm getting good at this. So,
You're a terrible tease.
this is a great episode, my friends, and we start off with seeing footage, news footage basically, of the Gideon massacre and what that entails. Uh, we see the behind the scenes with this news anchor, Diana Beer. She wants to really catch them and entrap them, cut it up to make them look as bad as possible because, well, there's no justice for these innocent people in their eyes. And, you know, we see throughout the episode that that kind of gradually changes when she sees all the inner workings of everything that goes on and the emotions and the people behind it. So without further ado, we'll start off there, and we'll start off with her meeting with Rosalind and Adama, and we'll get into their decision that they made to give her full access. And I guess, let's see who we'll start off with tonight. Amy's got the notes. So we're going to start off with Amy True. What do you think about those first two opening scenes?
Gotta find the page in my notes first. I'm flicking through.
Oh, it's all good. I can fill up the mic with hot air for just a second. I hope everyone's having a good night.
I wrote in green pen, so it's quite easy to find it. So yeah, the opening thing, it was very biased, I think, her opening story. The way it was portrayed, she's using footage of like a sobbing child and mentioning about how the Marines responsible and their commanding officers haven't had any charges against them for what happened, and the fact that she's calling it a massacre. 4 people isn't really a massacre. They're very making not exaggerating it as such, but kind of trying to make it out to be worse than it was. I suppose they are kind of. She's
trying to get a story, right?
Yeah, she's making more of a sort of more making it more interesting to people, I suppose.
And feel free to bounce off each other as well.
And obviously everybody knew about it, but now it's kind of she's bringing it up again and kind of reminding everyone. Just when Adama's sort of got the fleet back together and everyone's happy, she's now kind of resurrecting this thing that's going to divide them again, and it's going to then make sort of the general civilian population kind of fearful of the military again. She's kind of making them out to be something to be afraid of, that that they're dangerous to them. So it does seem a very kind of biased position that she's giving, which makes you kind of not like her to start with. And then when they take her actually onto Colonial One, there's a real contrast between Rosalind and Adama, the way they greet her. Like, Rosalind's really friendly, very warm towards her, like, oh, thanks for coming and everything. And Adama's just straight away like, where did you get the footage? It's like, he's not going to kind of mess around and try and be diplomatic or anything. He's just like very much just showing his displeasure straight away and very cold towards her.
Kind of slightly stop you right there.
Yeah.
And if your initial impressions of her, just basically your typical reporter, right?
Yeah, like a tabloid reporter, looking for like a sensationalist kind of story, and putting their own spin on it rather than reporting just facts. That's how she comes across.
That's a good point. And I love how realistic the show is, and definitely portraying that, because we see that in the media today in many different sources. And Franco is chiming in on the situation, so I will let Mackenzie L. Burns take over for just a second.
Yeah. Oh, Franco. He wants his 5 minutes on YouTube. The first initial thoughts about the news reporter is that she just wants to have a story. It's kind of weird that she calls that a massacre, but when the Cylons had shown up, and killed a bunch of Marines and a few military members that one episode. The first episode where we had a part 1 of 2, I think it was like the premiere or something like that. That wasn't called a massacre, and plus we've never seen this reporter before, so I can't remember exactly where she says she comes from. But now knowing the end of the episode, it seems she was just kind of planted there in a sense.
Yeah, John, do you know which ship in the fleet she came from? Is that ever stated?
As far as I know, they never state that. At least I've never picked it up. And this is my 8th watch through of the show, but there are certain episodes I've watched more times than that. This one I've watched like probably at least a dozen times because it's such a great episode.
Oh, someone's got John.
That's not my echo.
That.
But I don't think it's ever stated which ship she comes from. But
yeah.
I guess it ultimately doesn't really matter, right?
But you would think that her credibility would come from where she kind of, I guess, hails, from which ship she kind of hails from, in a sense, because it's not like she has this rap sheet of like, or a reputation of like, I've done news reports on this, this, and this, and this. So it's kind of just thrown out that's like, oh yeah, I want to do this documentary about the fleet. And it's like, sure, but like the fact that they didn't like credit check her, like, it's like, makes you suspicious.
I feel like she's a well-known investigative reporter, not a regular reporter, if that makes sense.
For me, the background was always kind of the opposite. Like, her character hasn't been introduced, but we're talking about a fleet of 50,000 people. Actually, Joanie, does anybody have the number for this week?
It's 47853.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because 2 died last week. But for me, it was, if the Cylons are implanted in colonial society, like she's probably somebody who's been an investigative reporter for a while. Now, there's some who have a lot of integrity and are respected for their integrity, and then we have others who don't. And when her character's introduced, that was how it really came across to me anyway, personally.
Yeah,
is that this is this person who's never really been mentioned, but they don't talk about watching the news very much. They've been kind of talking about like not dying.
Well, seemingly you would think the civilians have more time to watch the news, and I'll get into this a little more on Monday, but the military is a little more isolated and busy, as we see throughout the episode. Bobby, real quick, I'll just ask you, what were your first thoughts of the reporter? What do you think about her?
She's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, to say the least, right? I guess you have to be a good investigative reporter. Got to know when to push it and when not to. Clarissa, would you like to?
I don't know. Too much for my comfort.
Yeah, she knows how to trap people too, which is pretty good. I don't know. She's a good character, especially like getting a hard introduction. You like get thrown into her character this episode. I think they did it really well. Clarissa, would you like to give your thoughts on the first part of it, and then you can get into the decision they made, and then we'll go to you, Amy, right after that.
So, first of all, I wanted to kind of establish that, like, I got the impression that in this episode, some time has passed since the last episode, because there was no sort of settling in episode or anything for Adama and Roslyn. And at the time that Deanna comes on to Colonial 1, she says that she had been putting in requests for interviews with the Marines for months that had gone unanswered. So it kind of took me till the second watch through till I was like, oh, okay, this months have passed since the last episode.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a difference because up to the point of the last episode, it was very much like they were very close together. So some time has passed. People have chilled out. There haven't been as many Cylon attacks. I'm guessing that's where we're at right now. Yes? So,
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah, we're at the Rosalind offering the full access story on Galactica to Deanna and her crew.
Yeah, you can talk about Psy as well. Psy. Tall Psy, yeah. Saul Ty. Goodness gracious, I have dyslexia tonight.
Saul Ty. And his threat.
Mm-hmm.
And
what does Ellen actually do anything on the ship? Or is she just a trophy wife?
I think she's the trophy wife. I think you just hit the nail on the head right there.
Does she have a job there?
Everything as far as the equality we've seen too. That is a good question to get into.
John, does she have a job? Did she have a job?
No, actually, it's always been my impression, and I can say this because I had it the first watch through. Ellen is Ellen because she's a trophy spouse. That's why she acts the way she does.
Oh, so she's the Real Housewife of the Galactica.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Real Housewives of Battlestar
Galactica. That's awesome.
Her Real Housewives of the Fleet. I mean, we've got to get somebody off like Real House Spouses of the Fleet. We'll have to get somebody off of the Astro Fleet too.
Hilarious. But yeah, I mean, just because people were survivors didn't mean that they were useful survivors. Right? It means they made it. That's all it means.
They just won natural selection. That's
pretty much, yeah.
One of many roaches left in the universe. Well, not that many roaches. Go ahead.
So basically, they grant total access.
What were your initial thoughts?
The scene on the
when they grant total access.
I got what they were trying to get at, but of course, it's a television show. So my first thought is, what kind of hijinks is gonna happen on camera? Because that otherwise they wouldn't have a story for the TV show to tell from the beginning to the end. So as soon as I saw that was going to happen, I was like, what are they going to tell Xena?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll stop at the unrestricted access real quick. Amy, what are your thoughts on the unrestricted access? Kenzie, we'll get your thoughts on the unrestricted access, and then we'll go into Tyrell, and I think it's Tyrell and Racetrack's little spat, if I'm not mistaken, is next after
that. So it does seem like quite a surprising decision that Adama's made. It seems like more of a kind of political decision. So I think a lot of it's probably Rosalind's influence. He doesn't seem happy about it. It's kind of like a begrudging thing that he's kind of gone, yeah, okay. He's doing it out of necessity, because he gets it. A lot of the political stuff, he doesn't like it, but he does get it, and he understands that it could be beneficial to try and perhaps endear them a little bit more to the civilian population of the fleet, that they're not seen as this sort of entity that do these things, like, they're all about shooting stuff and blowing things up, and he's kind of trying to humanize them more, to portray, they're real people, and they're doing all this kind of to protect you. The whole, when he says like putting a human face on it, you can kind of see why he would agree to it, even if he doesn't think it's the best idea and would rather not. it's a sensible decision to make, I think, which is why he's chosen to do it.
Fair enough. Yeah, like the whole access and full access thing, it's kind of like okay. Especially because of what happened a couple episodes ago with the press. Like, I'm surprised that Adamas so trusting of an investigative reporter, especially because the other types of reporters were like, you lied about Cobalt, you lied about where we can find Earth and all of this stuff, and it's like, you lie, and all that stuff when Ty was in command and he kind of got the rap for it. So I was like a little bit surprised when they're like full access. Again, I'm going back to the fact of like how she wasn't really like, I guess, maybe credited with anything that she's reported on in the past almost, but I guess that's to move the story along. They had to kind of make it that they're like, okay, I approve, which kind of makes the end of this episode just even more just like, like, did you, was it like, it just makes it more like suspicious almost in the end of like that they let her in.
Mackenzie.
Huh?
Al.
Oh, Al's in the chat.
Hello, Al, my Twitter husband.
Yeah.
How to be said.
But yeah, it's just the suspiciousness of like how the fact that she was gained full access and not like had like like, yes, she had approval from Adama, but you'd think that more of the military would be more suspicious about this. Like, how do you think you have like the right or the privilege? Like, you'd think that she'd have like a signed thing of like, I can film here because that's what most people do if they're shooting on location. It's like they have permission to do so. So, like, and also if you're using it for a documentary, you kind of have to have written consent that these people can be on camera, unless it's like wavered. But I'm putting logistics into TV.
Well, I think that they did inform the crew, the Galactica, that this crew was going to be there and they're going to be granted all access. That doesn't mean that everybody was going to be comfortable with it or agreeable with it. So, I mean, I think they all know because was it Starbuck that says, "Oh yeah, the commander said that there was going to be a news crew." Somebody said that in this episode, and so I mean, they knew, but I mean, they're all proud military people. It doesn't mean that they wanted to do it.
Yeah, you would assume it was, they weren't asked, they were told by their commander, this is what's going to happen and we want you to cooperate. I can't see that there would have really been much more to it than that.
Mm-hmm.
They follow what the commander says. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah, that's a really good point. John, is there anything you want to point out in this before we get into freaking Tyrrell and what happens there with Racetrack? We can kind of go with there and the start of filming, which is very intense and gritty, grimy, which I
I
like.
can't feel like Adama. Well, yes, Amy, you have a damn good point. He's the commanding officer. If he says you do this, you do this. Like, that's why Starbucks like, oh, I hate this shit, but I'm gonna go ahead and this is a command. You cooperate with this person. I also agree with what you and Kenzie were saying. I think he's trying to. He's making a political decision as opposed to a tactical decision. Is the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't.
Very true.
And so if you have to let the media in, you just do. or you could argue with it. You've never heard that phrase before?
No.
No. You don't know the people I do.
Really quick, while we got our friends in the chat, I'll make the first announcement of the Cylon John's and Jill's first ever giveaway, and it's the Lunchbox Special. And wait till you see this, my friends.
Technically the second one, but
Oh, well, you know what I mean. This is the first Lunchbox giveaway. If you see here, this is all the Cylon Johns and Jills on a lunchbox for you. Everyone that comments in the chat tonight will be entered into the giveaway. And next Friday, we will announce the winner. So definitely stay tuned and check out the Cylon Johns. We will be giving these away probably, I would say, every 2 weeks or so.
Hashtag it if you want us to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I gotta have me one for sure. So definitely get excited about that. And don't forget to throw out them hashtags. You know, that may or may not have something to do with whether you win. You know, can't say, you know, because this is spoiler free.
Johnny, do we know if the lunchbox is big enough for a flask?
Oh yeah, man.
Okay, awesome. Then it'll be my lunchbox.
now Al's asking if it comes with a thermos.
Al Red Sox fan says hashtag I want it. LOL. Yeah, you never know. You never know. I may just fart in the lunchbox and send it your way. We'll see what happens.
Oh,
Hashtag
boy.
Cylon fart. So with that,
I don't
you
want
know, my special Johnny Be Crazy announcement. I got to live up to the name. Yeah, little James Franco. Who else has a dog barking right now? I hear somebody.
I don't have a dog.
But so
we
I
aren't
will
talking about
say,
anything important, so that Shade's not trying to get in my lap. It'll be during the dramatic scenes that she will. She'll be like, "Oh,
yeah,
hey."
I wanted to spray you one time live. That would
Oh,
be
boy.
hilarious.
Oh no. But look at Julianne's comment.
Hashtag good to hold your weed. Just hashtag don't know nothing about that. Um, oh goodness, Bubba Husky, did you see what we're giving away? Even though you don't get anything, hashtag you get a surprise. I can't tell you,
Hashtag
but
Nana.
I'll show it again in a little bit. How you doing, Bubba Husky? Catherine Harding, Al Red Sox fan, Robbie Wartburg, Lady Dreamfire. Thank y'all so much for coming out. I appreciate y'all. Julianne89 is the mastermind behind this, so don't let her be humble. Yeah,
Julianne
she's
is a
awesome.
mastermind, isn't she?
Yeah, she came up with the design and everything. We have so many fantastic friends here. So without me gushing anymore, I'll let y'all take back over. And whose turn is it to start off the scene? Is it Kenzie's? I think it's Kenzie's turn, then we go to Clarissa, then Amy. Amy, did you get to give your spiel? Okay, just making sure. All right, so Beers starts filming. We get into Tyrrell and Racetrack getting in a fight after Tyrrell basically saves her life. Then we see a lot of stuff that's happening in the barracks. They are very, very invasive. And we'll just kind of start there and I'll lead you through. Go ahead, Kenzie.
Yeah, with this, I guess this whole scene with Racetrack is strategic for the scene that happens with her later on, where she's more.
It's not Racetrack. It's Cat.
Oh, Cat. Sorry. It's more when she's more brash and more just like aggressive later on. Yeah, so it's kind of like that weird power dynamic kind of that she feels she has because she is a pilot and Tyrrell is the position that he holds. So it's that weird thing. And when Starbuck puts her in her place pretty much afterwards, it's like kind of like, yeah, that's what she's supposed to do. But even Apollo's just like, what's going on? Like, after she disbars her, it's like, what's going on? It's like, because she's acting like a little biatch. And, all that. And even then, they have to have that awkward conversation while the cameras are rolling. And yeah, it's probably uncomfortable because, like, obviously they all don't want to, like, act out of line too far, but they also don't want to act super pristine in front of the cameras, because then that's not a true or accurate representation of who they are as people. But when they go to, I guess, the barracks scene after this, it's like another scene where Apollo has a shower and Starbuck doesn't. It's like, hashtag stinky Starbuck. And
She
yeah,
doesn't. I mean, oh man, you're so spot on with that. Like, she never. Everybody else is showered, and she's just greasy as shit.
yeah, and it's just like awkward because then they have that scene where they're all like somewhat in their towels and all this stuff, and like, but yeah, like it shows the invasive nature. But if you want to get a true representation of people in a ship, you have to go into their private quarters, or else it's just the whole facade of this is my job and you can't follow me afterwards. Like, I'm more professional on the job than I guess in private. But yeah, hashtag stinky Starbuck.
Julianne says this felt like I was watching a bad porn movie being filmed, and everybody is fighting over the fart in the box in the comments. Is killing me.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the new hashtag. Hashtag stinky Starbuck.
Hashtag name that fart. Oh, Julianne,
I'm done.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Clarissa, in this madness, that is me. Go ahead, pick up on the
Cat?
confrontation we have.
With Tyrrell.
Yeah, and why didn't Starbuck punch her? She punches everyone else. That's a key question.
Well, I mean, there's cameras everywhere right now.
I know.
Everybody is probably mindful of that. I think that having Kat being so like hyper and goofing off and sort of irreverent in the locker room scene kind of starts to start the pattern that we see in her through the episode. So she's impatient with the chief as he's checking things out, and he's like, it doesn't feel right. Finds something that's loose or is leaking or something that goes everywhere, and she loses her cool, gets in his face, and he says that she's been riding him all week. And then after Starbuck comes along, breaks it up, sends her off. She tells Apollo, she's like, she's been pissing me off all week. I want to take her off rotation. And I was like, this is probably a good thing for them to be filming, because, he's just, we can't, we're short on pilots, we can't spare anybody. Like, there's no room for that. And it starts to paint a more sympathetic picture of the situation that they're in. They kind of paint the image of how, like they address later on in the episode, like this is just the beginning of the realization. There's nowhere to go. There's nobody else coming. There's nobody good. There's no backup. There's no, relief people. This is it.
But
right?
Randy the Rando is there to save at any moment.
Of course.
Don't forget.
That also
Randy the Rando.
That also too just kind of hit me too. Is like, because we know that she's a Cylon and she recorded that conversation, they kind of know that they have like maybe 20 pilots, less than that.
Yeah.
12. They got 12
Dream
pilots.
come true. Like, she's their recon. Their recon. Like, oh.
Sorry, Kenzie.
Angel.
Stannis. The Stannis that's in the corner.
Oh.
Stannis, I have a little potion for you, Stannis. I have a proposition.
He's
I will back you.
I got a
I swear.
shadow baby for you.
I have all the gold cloaks with you against Cersei.
Boy.
Don't worry. What happened with Ned? You just
Also-
don't know Ned. I
Also,
love you, Stannis.
also hashtag the toot tin.
Hashtag that red woman. You know, Littlefinger likes the red hair. John, would you like to throw in a little tidbit to maybe throw to Amy here too when we're talking about this scene? Uh, there's a lot of things here, and I think right now we'll go through kind of the individual interviews, and then we'll kind of backtrack slightly to the timeline. I think that'll be pretty fun. Uh, but yeah, John, would you like to throw anything out there? You've been pretty quiet, sir. I'd like to hear your voice. Terry T, welcome. Got to show you what we're giving away, but you are entered, Terry T.
I like that it's really realistic how everyone's acting. I don't. Everyone's always aware that this camera's in their face, but they're not. So in general, they're subduing certain things. But I don't think anybody's like, oh, hey, I've got this camera in my face, so now I've got to, Cat's still going to be a fuck off. Starbuck's still going to be a hard ass. Apollo's still going to be like, hey, the Golden Leader, the of the entire piloting squad. Like, they're still going to act the way they act, but I think everyone, from an acting perspective, plays up their discomfort with the situation pretty well. I like that quite a bit. Also, I would like to ask the panel, in your everyday life, what you do with your everyday life, how would you like for a camera crew to be sitting there? Like, how would you react?
Bobby, then Amy.
Hmm?
Bobby, how would you like a camera crew following you around? How would you react?
I would not like it.
Me either.
I'm not a fan of cameras.
What's going on, everyone? Amy, what do you feel about
I think it would be pretty difficult to carry on with your job as normal with cameras there. You know, they're kind of all, pretend we're not here and carry on, but it must make them uncomfortable, at least, even if they're not showing it. And they are aware of them. Like they're kind of trying to, kind of move off to the side to have their little conversations. Like you see that with Starbuck and Apollo, when they're talking after the row. They're kind of like they're finding it intrusive. There's this sort of. It's not the only one where they're like, oh, did you get all that then? Did you film it? So being sarcastic, because there's not really much they can do to say that they're not happy about it, I think, because, as I said before, I think because it's like they've been told this is what's happening and it's like a command, they've just got to suck it up, really. They can't protest really about it, so they have just got to get on with it. They haven't really got any other choice. They can't just sit there and go, no, I'm not going to do this if you're filming me. Even if they're uncomfortable, they've still got to carry on. And I would assume that Dalmas perhaps explained his motive for like why they want to do it. So, to an extent, they can probably just grit their teeth and carry on because it's like for the greater good. But you see that they're not happy about it. Quite a few of them they're not happy with the sort of intrusive questions, and I don't know if they probably wouldn't do it again. But I imagine if they because it ended up being okay at the end, like the story that they saw, that perhaps they would be a little bit more cooperative in the future if they decided they were going to do it again. I think perhaps if they've seen what she's done previously, like the story about the Gideon massacre, they're already going to be aware that she's kind of got a bit of a bias against them. So I think they probably might feel very scrutinised and worried about how they're going to be perceived. which is probably all the more reason why they would just carry on doing their job, because they don't want to be, they don't want to have anything negative said about them in it. So I think that's why you get such honest interviews when she's interviewing them and asking them questions. They are genuinely honest because they don't want to portray themselves as like these, it's just military and that's that. And that actually does achieve the goal of humanising them and showing them more human side.
Sorry.
What's funny?
I can't look at that.
Are we still talking about farts?
It's hilarious. They are fighting over this hashtag tootin' a 10.
I was just going to ask, what is 2 and a 10? And then
Toot is another word for fart. It's in like the tin lunchbox. So it's a toot tin.
Yeah.
Hashtag flatulation container.
So I didn't mean to laugh through that, Amy. I couldn't control myself.
Now people are confused on whether or not who's eligible for the thing, Johnny.
Everyone's eligible at this point. Bubba,
even
keep
Cylons
going
are.
though. You're already getting something. Don't worry, it's gonna be just as awesome. But I can't tell you what you're getting, because what you're getting is a surprise, because you're the man.
Hashtag nanolons.
The dog show.
Hashtag slow clap.
Welcome. Y'all are you're just in time. You'll be entered into the giveaway, my friend.
Oh, the dog's in the house.
It'll be announced next week. I'll show off the flatulation container or the hashtag tootin' a 10 really quick right now. Might as well. So here's Johnny. And there is the magnificent Cylon Johns and Jill's lunchbox that we'll be giving away. Who's laughing at me? No, just kidding. As you see, we have everyone there. John in his classic pink tie that he hates wearing now because he had to wear it like 40 days in a row. Then we have the astute and douchebaggy Johnny B. Crazy down at the bottom middle. We have the red-haired space woman with the flowing red locks. I guess you can probably figure it out. Then we've got Bobby and Clarissa and Amy. I think Amy is what's her name? Marianne from Gilligan's Island. And then but all of these people, I believe, are original characters from the show, right, John?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Julianne doctored them up.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, Julianne doctored them up to make them look like us as much as possible.
Except we gotta thicken up your beard, because it's not quite at brand level, but you're starting to. You don't have the evil villain beard like I do.
No, you do it like you're plotting some shit. No, we'll get it ironed out. This is a rough copy, but this is what you'll be getting. So be excited. Tune in next week to find out who's the winner. Like I said, we'll be giving them away every 2 weeks. I'm getting one of these things. So join in on the fun.
And we're gonna put the most random shit we can possibly find in there. And John's gonna fart in the box right before he sends it.
Yeah, that's the hashtag tootin' a 10 or hashtag flatulation container. Whatever you want. I'm gonna seal it. I'm gonna caulk it with some clear silicone so the fart doesn't escape. I'll work it up for y'all. Now,
is this a practice move or what?
To get back to it, one of the first interviews is Dewala. And what an interesting interview it is.
Wait a minute, I want to ask a question.
I believe it's Clarissa's turn to start first. So, would you like to talk about the Dewala interview and how you felt about that? And if you need to pass it on.
Did Bobby have a question?
I do have a question. Johnny doesn't want me to ask it. I want to know why everybody was so upset about having a camera in their face, but when they were in the shower room, the locker room, whatever, everybody was all like just ready to flash their stuff.
Yeah,
If I had abs
gotta.
like that, I would be all about it. If I
What?
still had those kind of abs, like I did when I was like 20, I'd be like, yeah, shoot me in the shower room. Cool.
And then he starts
Totally.
like dropping the towel and like the V. Oh. That was
Gosh,
a good
what-
moment in this episode.
Now
But
you gotta
even the
do it with
girl,
something
man,
for
she's-
like. Now it's not just Apollo's arms, but it's now his abs too.
Hashtag Apollo abs.
it was almost everything he's got.
Hashtag ab Apollo.
Apollo.
Good one, Clarissa. Okay, I'm done
Obviously,
interrupting.
they just don't provide them big enough towels that he couldn't wrap it all the way around his waist because he had
Right?
to.
I know it's like a
It's a
hand
clip-in.
towel or something.
Take hands.
He's not a huge dude. Like, towels come bigger than that, you know?
Not if you want to flash at reporters, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's so commanding.
No one complained about the camera in there.
No.
And she was
Fingers
definitely
just
flirting with him
flipped
as well.
I think
I
Julianne even pointed out that the cameraman just like stared kind of at moved the camera towards Apollo's junk for like 2 seconds before he left the room.
Well, like I said, male or female, if I were built like anybody in that room, I'd be like, yeah, okay. This is the one time I'm totally okay with the commander's order. Yeah, shoot me. Yeah, please take pictures. Please.
I love how as he's
Goofy.
dropping the towel, everybody who's standing behind him are all like kind of giving each other side looks and laughing. Because like they're totally looking at his butt. So they're just like, hey. So anyway, so we were talking about what again? Abs?
The interview with Dawala.
Interview with Dawala. So it's her turn to talk to the camera, and they ask her about entering the military, and she starts talking about how asking about how her family felt about her being in the military, where she reveals that her dad, I don't have the quote that she exactly said, but he definitely disapproved of the military. He said it was for something. Amy, did you write that down? It was one of those things I meant to write down. I was like, oh, I never wrote it down. But anyway, yeah, she basically reveals that her father didn't
I think
approve.
it was. I can't remember the exact words, but I think it was basically
For despots and
for people who can't properly get accepted to secondary school.
right, but people who were like violent or something like that, and she was just like, I just wanted something to believe in, I guess, which I think says a lot about her character.
Yeah.
That she wants to believe in something, you know, that she thinks of something more. She has faith in something more.
Mhm.
And I thought that was very telling about her.
Yeah, like, and also with her saying it's like we had a fight and then the Cylons came, like
3 weeks later,
yeah.
after she said she never wanted to talk to him again, and she
Yeah.
never will.
Yeah, which is like one of those things that you always want to like not do, is like not leave or like go to bed angry or all of that stuff. So it's like just in case, because you never know what can possibly happen.
Yep,
Even
that's why.
even it like, yeah, so it's sad, but then it's also the thing of like that's what makes Dee like who she is today, like as a character, almost in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a good interview, and it's surprising that she was the first person to be interviewed, rather than like, not saying that Dee's not an important integral role to the show, but like someone of like maybe higher up, but they get to that point where they go higher and higher and higher. But we didn't see her interview Rosalind or Adama. That like she didn't get to that level in terms of who she interviews. So she interviews, I think Ty is the highest person that she interviews in terms of like military stature. So maybe that's something. Why? Like either she didn't do it or they just didn't show it. But
Yeah. Well, I thought that it was kind of appropriate that Dee would be one of the first people that they interview because Dee's the one showing them around the ship anyway. You know, it was like showing them the oxygen machines and telling them about the food storage and everything. And she's like, oh, exciting. But I have to say, the best part of that whole spiel was Baltar, like, lurking in the hallway, being all like, she should be interviewing me. I'm the vice
Boy,
president. Like, he was
he
just
is
like
so stuck on
full
himself.
on ego, man. Like, and of course, Six is all like, yeah, go do it. Go do it. He was just like, I just love how he's like, oh, well, I'm gonna try and play it cool, and he stammers like a madman, and then as soon as he walks away, the first thing she says is, "What a strange little man."
She was
So
right.
funny, right?
That was
So
really good.
yeah.
Even though I'm a small dude, that's still, I know how to take a joke. That shit was funny.
I never got the impression that he was small. I just got the impression that he comes across.
He's probably about 5'8" to 5'10". He's not.
Dude,
He's
we're
not.
talking about fucking Xena, okay? Anybody's small.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Okay.
small next to her.
So she's
I want to
one
know
point
why I didn't recognize her.
because she's blonde in this episode.
Don't tell me how many meters she is tall, please.
I think
Yeah, but I used to
1.77
watch.
meters.
Give me in feet. I'm a stupid American.
She's
5'10".
5'9" at 177 because I'm 182 and
5'9.25". That means Baltar's like 5'4".
yeah, and I'm 5'9" and
Just like
3/4.
me.
So
Baltar's taller than me.
I mean,
and Jon
Adama,
Snow.
Edward James
Kit
almost was
Harington.
like 5'3". Then
and I'm half an inch taller than Lucy Lawless.
I do not
It said
believe that.
5'10" in the thing.
Yeah, I thought she was a lot taller than that. Like, I thought she was like my height.
Because Trisha Hefner
Brienne's
is
like
6 foot
6'3".
tall. She's 6'6". The actress that plays Six, she's 6 foot.
When she was running for the Miss New Zealand pageant, she was recorded at 175.9 centimeters, which is
How
5
old was
feet
she then,
9
though?
and a quarter.
She could have
Well, I
grown
mean,
some more.
but she said on Howard Stern that she was 5'10".
So she
Interesting.
grew a quarter of an inch between that one.
3/4
I
of
think
an
somebody
inch.
needs to acknowledge Dog on this. Wonder Woman would stomp Xena.
Oh, I'm not getting into this one.
Actually,
I'm not getting into this
I
one.
don't know. Wonder Woman is my favorite forever.
can I counter this?
I like Xena.
Gabrielle
Yes.
was also an Amazon princess, so they would all be friends.
I don't know what you're talking about. So I have no doubt.
Gabrielle was
Oh my
Xena's
God.
sidekick, and Gabrielle was adopted by the Amazons as a princess.
I love Gabrielle.
So also Gabrielle being an Amazon princess, as well as Diana, who is Wonder Woman, they would all be friends. Next question.
Yeah,
My
your
grandfather
Wanderlust,
loved Wonder Woman.
your Wanderlust is turned up to 11.
Yeah, I think Xena and Wonder Woman would just kick ass together.
Totally.
Yeah, they're not
I
stupid. Neither
know
one
what
of
you're
them. Oh my God. I didn't
Catherine.
teach you well at all, did I?
This is going to be a new idea for you now, Mackenzie. You're going to have to do like a Xena Warrior Princess series.
Oh God.
That's what you can do when Thrones is over.
Yeah. One of them. Yeah, I'll have to pick up. Yeah, I'll have to figure out what people want on episode club next after we get through all the episodes. Be like,
I'm so down with Xena.
but the funny thing is, I would be the first time watcher on my own show. I'd be like, "Hi."
Okay.
Ooh, Xena
That
would
would
be
be
a
funny.
rare experience at Littlefinger's brought.
So as long as we got the name Diana in there, which is interesting because we were just talking about Wonder Woman, whose name is Diana, and
Yeah.
The character that Lucy Lawless is playing in this episode is Deanna. So it's not Deanna, but it's D''Anna. And I'm wondering, because they try and go with all this Greek mythology stuff in Battlestar Galactica, if sort of like Deanna is Diana, as in like
Is
from,
Battlestar actually a prequel for Xena?
oh my God, can you imagine?
Xena,
Oh.
the Cylon from Cobalt, or one of the, or yeah, or maybe
Um,
it's maybe Xena is the prequel, and that's what Cobalt turned into before everyone escaped in their spaceships. They
and
rode horses,
Xena's
and
not
no,
really a
I'm kidding.
ghost. She's a Cylon at the end.
So back on
I'd have never
Dwala
guessed.
and the interview with the reporter. See, I shouldn't have left, but I'm kidding. This is fun. Amy, did you give your thoughts on that interview?
No, we got sidetracked by Xena.
Well, you give your thoughts on that interview and then lead us into the interview with Apollo.
It was really sad, actually, the interview with Dee. The way she's talking about it, you can see the emotion in her face when she's talking about. I think it still upsets her that her dad wasn't really very positive about her career choice, and you could tell that she was still upset about that. But then obviously the fact that he died with everybody else. I can't remember where it is she's from. She's not from Caprica, is she? She was from one of the other colonies, and I can't remember which one now. But yeah, basically she kind of fell out with her dad over this, and then told him she never wanted to see him again. And very unfortunately, that's exactly what's happened. She will never see him again. And there's you certainly detect a hint of regret, I think, even though it's obvious I'd say she still seems like she's not angry but disappointed about his reaction to it. But now that he is actually dead and she isn't ever going to see him again, I think she realizes that perhaps that wasn't the best course of action, was to say that to him. Bobby's waving. What's up, Bobby?
I want to agree with you totally. She was a real heavy emotion this time.
I think she's very good. Actually, the actress, she is really, really good, because there's not a huge amount she's saying, but she's very, very expressive with her face. It comes across really, really well. So you've got like kind of the regret and the sadness and everything. It comes across brilliantly. Whereas,
I love her simple delivery.
yeah, there's not a lot of emotion in her voice. It's a face. When she speaks, she's actually quite matter of fact. It's like she's telling you about something else, like somebody else. And it's only when you see if you heard her speaking, you wouldn't realise unless she said that it was about her. The way she relays it is like she's talking about someone else. It's very matter of fact, and this is how it is. But when you see her face, that's where all the emotion is. It's all in her expression, which that's got to be really that's some skill for an actor to be able to do that. And it contrasts then with Lee's interview. He's not as emotional, but he's very, he's kind of businesslike, and it's not personal to him. It's about his pilots. When he's talking about the special consideration as such. And when she actually says to him, "Oh, you think your pilots deserve special consideration? Like, what makes them so great?" I really like that he actually just go, "Well, actually, yeah, they do." And he stands up for them, and rather than going, "No, no, no, everybody should be treated the same. We're all together." And he's like, "Well, actually, no, they do, because these are all the things that they're doing for the rest of you. And so, yeah, they do, they do need some sort of, they need to be able to have the limited downtime that they have, uninterrupted and not be intruded on, because they earned that very much by what they've, what they're going through every day. In look, even though the doesn't seem that there's been an attack for a while, they're still on 15-hour rotations instead or something. So they're having to do that day in, day out, even when there isn't like an actual attack. They're still, they're still training new people. Really, there's all these new pilots that haven't been doing it for that long. They're still having to teach them. They're still having to, be constantly ready to go to go and defend the ship and everything. And it takes its toll, even though they are getting some downtime, which obviously we kind of see later on. So it's good that he kind of he sticks up for his team, essentially. Anyone else going to chime in?
No, I think it's an indication of just what shit means to Apollo. I mean, yeah, he's in front of a camera, but like his crew, his team, his like they matter to him. And he's like, yeah, actually they do. They, they're not sitting here doing news reports. They're not sitting here doing that. No, they're putting their lives on the line for you motherfrackers. And yeah, they should be allowed to enjoy themselves in what little time they get to enjoy themselves. So I don't feel bad about it. Oh, and Jamie Bamber's so good at the jaw clench.
Totally. You see it. Well, it doesn't hurt that he's got like that chiseled jawline, so you can like see every movement.
What did you think about the Apollo interview? Just want to get to that and a few of the other interviews. Go with Kenzie, or is it? Yeah, Amy, did you give your thoughts on the Apollo interview? Yeah, okay. So Kenzie, go ahead.
Yeah, like well, Paulo's kind of right in his opinion in terms of, yeah, like we risk our lives every day for these people, and like he's kind of like almost slightly insinuating that the civilians should kind of be more grateful for what they do, but also understands that like this is what they signed up for, but that they shouldn't kind of be kind of judged almost. So it's kind of like towing the line of like, yeah, like I understand what you're doing, but like I hope you don't paint us in the wrong light almost. Like even though you're gonna get all this footage and do the right thing, I just hope that more people, more of the civilians understand our day-to-day operations and understand us more as people, because I probably just know them on like a formal basis, but to know like who exactly all of these people are, it's important, but it's just like kind of guarded with that because
Yeah, I don't think he's giving it in a condescending sense. I think he's just saying like, hey, you fuckers should appreciate what we're doing.
And they should.
Which I think is kind of echoed in a way with when they're interviewing the Marine. What was his name?
Scott
The one who said,
Kelso.
yeah, Kelso, when he was saying, we're not hired to be, crowd control. It goes to show that it's like one person's a soldier and another person is commander, right? Like Lee shows that, this is what he thinks, and he has, reservations, and he's contemplative. Whereas Kelso is obviously like younger and trained to be a soldier. He doesn't seem to sort of be like, if he's going to be command material, he's not command material yet. Because he's making excuses. I mean, he's saying he has 10 stitches on his head, saying that they weren't, say that they were under attack. But it's like, you're still holding lethal weapons, and other people just have junk. 10 stitches isn't like death, with a little kid running up to his dead father in the middle of it, right? Like, but the way, I think it really shows Lee being very much commander, and you see that contrast against other people like Kelso, who can't help but blab his mouth about Ty being a drunk.
Well, people are a little pissed off about that.
Oh yeah.
They see that and the decisions he's made, and they put two and two together. That's affected his decision. So there's definitely a little resentment there.
And he does let it slip to the press about the death threats against Ty in that interview.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a major frack up. Right. And we get to, if you want to talk a little bit about the Scott Kelso interview, which was really tough, I'll kind of throw it to you, Bobby. You got anything you want to say about the interview so far? Any of the interviews. I can't talk tonight for some reason, but any of the interviews that we've talked about so
That's what
far,
you get
maybe.
for farting in boxes. Payback.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. I don't have anything to say. I do think that guy that defended himself, I think that was warranted. And maybe they shouldn't have shot, but aren't they taught to defend themselves when they're getting attacked?
Well, he does explain that that's what they're taught. They are military. John brought up this point when I think this happened, and before that as well, when we talk about them not wanting the military to be police and having martial law. So I think there's definitely some merit to that. I'll shut the hell up and save it for Monday. But Amy, would you like to add? Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
No, I'm good.
I love you, Bobby. Amy, go ahead and let us know what you thought about Scott Kelso.
Yeah, it was quite a short one. And he's obviously one of the Marines that was actually there. It's never said if he's one of the people that actually killed someone, though. I don't think it actually mentions specifically which of them that fired first. And he's saying, they're not all innocent, kind of thing. He got hurt in it and needed 10 stitches in his face. And yeah, when he mentions Ty, he says, not surprised someone's trying to take out that drunk son of a bitch. So he's not just letting on the fact that he's had a death threat, he's also letting out the fact that, everyone knows that he's drunk. So he's there's two third parts there, that it's not just the fact that this has happened, it's the fact that he's drunk as well, which gives Deanna some fuel for later on. And obviously his lieutenant then, because I've forgotten the lieutenant's name.
Palladino,
that's it. Yeah, because he was kind of in charge of the group that were on that were at the Gideon thing. He never fired a shot as well, I don't believe. It was him that actually told them to cease fire. But it's him that cuts it short. He's like, no, that's it. Stop now. No more talking. But I think, as we discover later on, that's perhaps more to do with the fact that he had an ulterior motive for not discussing the death threat.
Yeah, very true. It's a good insight there into the mind of what they're taught and thinking. I think with that interview, Kenzie, let's go to a little more interesting interview. They interview Ty, but we'll talk about Ty in a second. Gata's interview. How interesting was that?
That's funny.
Hashtag take a shot.
Yeah, the shot. And speaking of shots, the Gata talks about ambrosia and how pretty much he knows a good chaser for that, which I'm kind of surprised he didn't admit what's the ideal chaser for ambrosia. But he also talks about how he smokes cigarettes, but he doesn't like cigarettes, and that pretty much his entire life, pretty much into his probably a teenager, was just trying to get the position to be on a Battlestar. And he got to be on Battlestar Galactica. And that he got a tattoo. And that he got a tattoo because of a drunken night with ambrosia, which actually... it's false. You can't get a tattoo when you're drunk. Most reputable tattoo parlors won't.
But it won't look that good.
Yeah, it's like, well, most, like, I know here, anyways, most reputable tattoo parlors won't do it.
Yeah, most reputable tattoo parlors will not tattoo you when you're drunk, but I don't. And this is, I think I have more ink than everybody on this panel combined. There are tattooists who will still do that.
Mm-hmm.
Home ones usually.
Am I
Don't
the
ask
only
me how
one?
I know.
And I'm sorry I cut you off, Kenzie, but
No.
I think that was kind of the entire point. Like,
Yeah.
he got drunk and
face, John.
tattoo a panther on him. Which, by the way, if anybody knows anything about language of tattoos, there is a symbolism behind the panther tattoo.
So it was a
Julianne's
panther.
comment. I think she knows what it is. Then he opened his shirt and showed a tattoo of a pussy. Wow.
Really?
Pussy cat, that is, okay?
He doesn't smoke. What they do that for?
He just said he just developed just a habit of cigarettes, smoking cigarettes. He says, I don't like it to smoke them, but I just do it anyways.
No, but he has not. Have you seen him smoke at all before? Or was it just for this interview?
At the card games, I think we've seen him smoke before.
Yeah, I don't think
I have not noticed.
probably because the actor probably doesn't like to smoke, maybe, or didn't like to smoke with the fake cigarettes, maybe.
Yeah, the thing with alcohol as well, it has nothing to do. Yeah, you'll bleed more, but it's your skin involuntarily twitches, like you have involuntary small muscle spasms due to the intoxication, and that's what makes it. It makes it hard for a tattoo artist to do it because your muscles like having a small spasm while it's happening.
Am I the only one who thought that Gata was like super, like Rico Suave, and that like when he was sitting back with that smoke, I was like, oh, Gata's looking kind of sexy right now.
Yeah, I think he was trying to because he did not act the same here as he normally does.
With like the bedroom eyes, and it was just like, I don't always drink ambrosia, but when I do, I smoke cigarettes and get tattoos.
Oh my god! Yeah, yeah. He did seem he seemed more relaxed when that happened because I guess maybe this is because we don't normally see a lot of Gata when he's off duty. So maybe this is how he acts like off duty because button up like with the fix your tie kind of thing when you're in, I guess, at your job. But then he's like one of those wild people who just like goes hard after a long day's work. So yeah.
No, I agree with you, Mackenzie. Like I have a very, because I have such a public job, I behave in a very different manner when I'm at work than I do when we're here on Friday nights. Because I have to. Like I work in an extremely high end hotel, and I have to
say the C word.
I have to. Yeah, no C words when I'm at work. or when Mackenzie's around anymore because I know it bothers her so much. So I try really hard not to. But no, Kenzie, I totally, that was the impression I got during that scene. Is that this is Gato when he's like off duty, like, and
I
he's
like
just, hey,
I like Gate off
So-
duty.
So Clarissa
Yeah,
now
it was-
wants more scenes of Gata off duty.
I said before, I like them big, I like them small, I like them all. And seriously, I was just like, he was sitting in front of that camera, and I was like, oh, this is a different Gata than we've seen,
He was totally different.
right?
More relaxed.
He wasn't all business.
Yeah.
He hadn't done his hair either. Did you notice he'd got like his hair was all kind of poofy and a bit frizzy, and normally it's all kind of slicked down and back and everything, but he was kind of like quite literally
Yeah.
let his hair down.
It
I
was like
resemble-
zhuzhed. He zhuzhed it.
Was he
Mm,
playing to an audience of 3?
Yeah, maybe.
maybe. Yeah, the sort of it was quite funny. I found it quite amusing because it was just such a contrast to what he's normally like. You know, he's so sort of kind of stiff upper lip. He's very, he's always looks the part, and he's just everything so like about his job. To see him like that, and then his collar's undone and he's smoking, and he looks a lot more relaxed, and but then like he's kind of like talking about alcohol, and then like getting his tattoo out. It's just like, well, he's the last person you'd think that would have like just this random chest tattoo that he got while he was
Must have been
drunk.
drinking.
Yeah. And not just ambrosia, he said, with a chaser. So he's been drinking a lot and mixing it up a bit. But it makes you wonder what some of the others would maybe like really when they're not on the job as such. If there are other people that have this kind of real contrast to their work persona. And it, like John was, I've worked in jobs where I had to be like completely the opposite of my actual self. I was a corporate PA for 3 years, and going from kind of that environment, it was like being a completely different person at work. You dress differently, behave differently, and then you let your hair down like when you leave the office.
I think also too maybe
I'm a
it's to
crazy
show.
asshole all the time.
I think also maybe too it's just show the fact that he was so uptight with himself for so long that once he got to where he was, which is like in the front lines pretty much of the, or not in the front lines, but like in one of the most important positions on the Battlestar, he really got to relax and just kind of like have his, I guess, maybe wild teenager-ish / young adult self, but just in that part of his life, he just like delayed it for a while. He got to
I
where he
also
wanted
want to
to
know who's doing tattoos on the Galactica. What the hell?
Where's
What
the
a weird-
tattoo artist?
Yeah, it's
That
like
one.
I'm sorry, but didn't
it's probably
you guys
on the
ever have
Astro
that party
Queen.
where the guy was like, "Dude, I could give you a tattoo. I've been taking these classes on the internet."
oh yeah, if it's on the Astral Queen, it's like prison tattoos.
Yeah,
They could
it
come
is.
up with a whole new meaning for that, but yeah,
I'm sorry,
it's like,
that panther looks like a prison tattoo.
yeah, it does.
And actually, the panther on the chest is a prison tattoo.
Yeah, like, well, covering up prison tattoos.
Well, Julianne was saying, "Oh, sorry, go ahead."
So I was just that's just the thought of like all these like off-duty pilots and stuff like queuing up to get like a tattoo from some filthy prison scratcher on another ship. It's just like it's so weird because you just wouldn't expect that to be something, what are these really important supplies we need? We need food, we need water, and we need tattoo ink.
Yeah.
It's like, why have they even got it?
Julianne was saying that maybe Ellen and Gata get a drink after she was done with Billy.
Probably. I'm gonna do this one more time, and then I want everybody in the chat to kind of help us out and let people know we do have a giveaway going on, especially in the future. Right now, I'm just showing it a few times so everybody knows what's happening. Uh, I'm gonna give it one more time, and then I'll do it at the end. Stay for the end. We'll tell you what's gonna happen Friday, and we'll announce the winner Friday as well. So, one more time for the fam. Let's check it out. And, Julianne wanted me to play this. Yes, and that's how I feel about this lunchbox. It will be touched up a little bit, but that is the whole panel on a lunchbox. The original Battlestar Galactica, old school. It will come with a pre-packaged fart, as promised earlier. And no doubt it will be authentic, and you can request what you would like me to eat the day before.
And it's gonna have
my.
whatever the F Johnny and I want to put in there.
So I'll just
Like
put
you have no idea.
one of those in there.
It might be a sandwich that I gave up on 2 weeks
Might even
ago.
throw a little duck toy in there too. But no, this is what's
Might be
happening.
underwear.
The night he smoked the license tree.
Used or unused.
So anybody new that comes in the chat now, let them know that they are entered into the giveaway and to stay to the end to find out what's going to happen. And that's it for now. But Night, welcome. I just want to give a shout out too. We did an awesome podcast. Look for it to probably come out tomorrow instead of the Fire and Blood. I'm kind of have this Nooners podcast and it'll be a premiere. So, just because I'm not doing Fire and Blood, but other than that, I'm not going to shout it out anymore because I'm taking up all the time. Y'all talk about something.
Maybe we should talk.
Johnny's a goofball.
Should we talk about
You can get into Ty's interview.
going to Cloud9 thing?
Well, you can go back a little bit and we'll get into the whole death threat thing with Ty and then his interview. And then we'll catch back up if you'd like to do that. It'll be right there at the timeline. And you can go ahead, Clarissa, if you want to talk about Ty's interview and, the death threat, Ellen Wright. You've already got some mention of her. And,
yeah, with Ty's being assigned to go to this king-size bitch fest on Cloud9, when they go to take off, Racetrack has to abort the launch because the ship's been sabotaged, leading to a conversation between Ty and his fine wife Ellen, who it's like somebody's trying to kill you. So this is, you need to tell your side of the story. You need to submit to an interview. You need, this Deanna Beers lady has been trying to contact you for an interview for days. So you should take it and tell your side of the story. And she's like, when are you going to realize that we're all by ourselves out here? Like nobody, you got to look out for number one is basically what she's pushing. So I think that's probably more than anything why he goes and has the interview with Deanna and her crew is simply because Ellen. When isn't it Ellen, you guys? Did anybody notice that when she starts interviewing him, she pours them both a drink and she doesn't touch hers?
Yeah.
Yeah, the camera kind of focuses on her glass sort of put down for a second. She was definitely setting him up. And she heard Adama say to him, stay away from the bar. When he's talking about sending him to the Cloud9 thing and she's filming it and he says, and stay away from the bar. They obviously got that. So that's like more confirmation that he's known to have a drinking problem. So it's kind of gave her more of an idea of what to do.
Yeah. And it's it's kind of like a classic interview thing of like maybe sometimes she just asks for like water or something, but she kind of knows that this is Ty. She probably, because she's also a Cylon, she probably knows that he has a reputation of drinking. Maybe just if they have a scan of this person does this, or like traits for this, or what is it, like a thing, like quick tips on how to get to know this person, and it's like likes to drink alcohol, likes to talk about Ellen, has leadership control issues or something like that. So it's just like, here.
But she'd already interviewed the Marine who'd called him like a drunk son of a bitch, and then had heard the comment that Dama made on the bridge about, stay away from the bar. So, she was like adding it up, and for sure she was setting him up to, and he saw it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he also downed his drink in 10 seconds.
Some form of scotch or something like that. Just like, yeah, let me just take a shot, literally.
Yeah. So yeah, that interview was.
I'm sorry, if you shoot scotch, you deserve to die.
If it's bad scotch, it's okay.
There's no point in drinking bad scotch.
Yeah,
it's got sugar in it. Shit.
I've never had scotch. Never can have it.
Fucking glass.
Yeah, you can't. Can you, Kenzie?
No, I never was able to, and never can. Pretty much.
Gluten.
Yeah.
Well, Con, I'm bringing you tons of sake.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Littlefinger's secret weapon. Gluten.
There's gluten in rice.
Well, not
That's why you can get glutinous rice.
I thought rice didn't have any gluten.
It has gluten.
Oh, okay.
It's a different kind of gluten, though.
Shit, Kenzie, what am I going to bring you?
No, like I've had sake before.
I'll bring you ambrosia.
Rum?
That's what Bobby. The next thing you have to make is ambrosia. A bottle of ambrosia. Like you do with
I'll eat the dessert. Ambrosia.
I've got a bottle of absinthe in my cupboard. Don't confuse it with the wildfire, though.
Right, it's all green.
It's very similar in color, yes.
Yeah, you just gotta make sure that you don't drink the wrong one.
One of them served flaming.
Yeah, you'll set yourself on fire instead of your throat on fire.
Goodness gracious.
So yeah, it's definitely a setup, especially when she goes to she brings that tape right away to Adama because he shoves her out of the way when he leaves the room, right? So
That's bad.
Yeah, she's just like, are you sure you want this loose cannon around? He's the one that did the whole Gideon thing, and yeah. And Adama's basically nobody gets off, scot-free. We all have to live with this. Like that,
Which is true, but there should be a little more consequences, although limited supply, as we see a little later here. And Amy, did you want to give some thoughts on that? And then we'll lead into the CIC and, Ty being sent to Cloud9 and all that mamma jamma.
Didn't we just talk about Ty being sent to Cloud9?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought you said you... I meant to circle back. My bad.
Oh, we mentioned that, but not the ship thing. No,
how it was the lead up to the interview. First, how his being sent there, and then the sabotage, and then Ellen urging Ty to take the interview because of the
we skipped a bit about the sabotage, I think, inadvertently, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
it was a means to an end.
There's a lot in this episode, so it's all good.
Ellen was trying to stick the knife in for Rosalind again. Like she was saying, "Oh, Rosalind wants to hang you out to dry." She's still fueling that that sort of dislike of her, and she's in his ear again. It's like a constant thing with her. And we've kind of covered everything that was in the the interview. I mean, he was right that she was trying to set him up, though. He says, she's trying to set me up, and yeah, she obviously is. And when she does show that footage to Adama, she says, like, why hasn't he been charged? And it's like, you know, we can't be like charging and arresting like all our people, otherwise we'd have no one left. But Adama says that like nobody takes a walk, we've all got to live with it, which is kind of foreshadowing, I think, for the end of saying like how people have got to live with what they've done. Kind of foreshadows what happens in this, like the last scene in his and Helen's quarters, of how hard it is to live with those mistakes, I suppose. But yeah, she's the questions that she's asking them in a very leading way. So like she says, like, you know, about regretting the decision. She's trying to make him essentially say that he doesn't actually care that that's what happened, and that's not what he's trying to say, but she's trying to make it sound like that's what he's saying. And obviously getting him drunk, she's probably hoping that would make him stumble over his words, and he would be easily led. So it's kudos to him, at least, that he sees what's going on, and doesn't let his mouth get him into trouble because he's been drinking.
Yeah, he's a simple man. He could have played it different, but that's just not Ty. Even though he knew he was walking into a trap and he could have basically mentally prepared for it. You know how Ty is. And there's a couple more key interviews that come right after this with Racetrack, Hunka Hilo, and even Cat's crazy ass.
And and Starbuck at the punching bag.
Yes. Oh, I'm saving that one for last, so John can gush a little bit. Who hasn't went first for a second? Sorry, my internet's being a bitch. Nobody's helping me.
I think it's Amy's turn to go first.
Okay, so Amy, Racetrack basically lights a candle for her loved ones in the memorial, right? And she feels like she's basically already good as dead when she's talking to Beers. And yeah, I'll leave it to that. And then we'll let Clarissa segue into Hilo. And then Kenzie segue into Cat. And then I'll let y'all kind of all talk about them combined and what y'all brought away from those 3 interviews. And then we'll definitely talk about the badass non-shower taking Kara Thrace.
I didn't really write much actually about what she said. Obviously, you saw her lighting the candles and showing quite an emotional side, but then when she's talking, she's kind of talking about how disconnected really she is from that, and that you have to like imagine you're already dead, which is an awful way of thinking. You know, that must mess with your head so much to essentially be just expecting to die all the time. The toll that must take on them, and obviously we kind of see the some of the effects of that with Kat later on. But yeah, and it's what Halo says as well. He's talking about turning off your human part, which, you know, you've got these Cylons that are trying to be human, and then you've got humans trying not to be human. It's quite a contrast.
Very true, Sasa. Oh, I mean, my bad, Clarissa with the Hilo. Sorry.
No, is anyone familiar with the Alice in Chains song, The Rooster?
Yes, that's a fucking fantastic song.
Like when Racetrack's doing her interview, like that's what I thought of.
Right, because I mean, she's basically talking about how you have to sort of have this not a death wish, but you have to just imagine that, well, like she says, you have to already be dead, and then her determination to send as many toasters to hell as she can get there.
Actually, I think it codifies the entire episode. Like, walking tall, machine gun man, they spit on me in my homeland. Like, yeah, I remember very, very, very distinctly when I first watched this episode. Like, that was my thought. Like, that, just that feeling, like, yeah, it's to me, that's one of the most poignant moments in the entire episode. I mean, there are big moments in this episode, bigger moments, but like what it encapsulates.
And then it's a theme that's kind of carried over as soon as they cut to the next interview, which is Hilo. And he's talking about the difference between like what they're trained to do and then what it's like when you actually go out into the field and you're in that position, about the contrast as to, this is what you're trained for under ideal situations. And then you like go out into the field and there are no ideal situations. It's what you got and it's what you have to work with. And it's harder than you think. So I thought that was a good like carryover, showing a commonality among soldiers, the determination, and the constant growth and realization of being a soldier in the field, and the contrasts between what you were told it was going to be like and what it actually is. So,
oh yeah, well, I'll Go Down Together by Billy Joel. That's one of those songs that really drives that entire thought and feeling home. And it just really makes you think about how I personally think Apollo has it right. He's like, we're sitting here saving your asses. We're doing 15-hour shifts. Like, shut the fuck up and let us have a bit of privacy.
Julianne was saying, train the humanity out of you because that's what kills you. And his words became more important to me after the ending. Yeah. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. There you go.
We agree.
Yeah.
So say we all.
Like my hair?
So say we all.
Always. We always love your hair, Johnny. Always.
The haircut, yeah.
And forever.
No, it's really complicated situation that you see. You see how complex humanity is. And yeah, Julianne, you made a great point. Sasa, would you like to kind of take us into the crazy manic state, or manic interview cat day? And then Bobby, I want your opinion as well on Crazy Cat.
So the mixing of the tapes and all of that, like that.
No, what's her name that mentally broke with
Cat, when she's coming into land, her fighter.
Oh, okay, because I thought you said mixing of tapes. I'm like, that's a few scenes later, but okay.
Yeah, she comes in to land and then she gets the interview after, right?
No, it's she has
she gets the interview first.
Yeah, she has her interview beforehand, but which is kind of like a weird thing when it's spliced between the scene that plays and pretty much she's just talking about like how it is to be like a pilot and how like the sensations that you feel after you've come back from a successful run and all that. And then it's placed between her not feeling confident and being able to complete this run, and then gets all of these like weird jittery feelings, and then pretty much kind of gets knocked out or passes out or something like that. And but she's able to be brought back into Galactica, where pretty much the moment she's kind of released from her raider, she's just kind of freaking out. She's manic, spazzing out, freaking out, saying that they're all gonna die, and that something's coming for them, and then they don't know what's going on, but they're like it's gonna be like this really a bad, terrible thing. So they pretty much have to strap her to the gurney and pretty much bring her to Dot Coddle, but but the scene that's kind of intermixed with that is Hilo goes to check on Sharon, who finds Sharon pretty much in a ball under her blanket and she's bleeding. So it's assumed that she's potentially miscarrying this magical Cylon baby slash human baby. And so it's like it's a cutting in of those two scenes because you kind of forget that that's happening. But the camera crew is there when they follow Kat into the medic, and you see Doc Cottle be like, "I'm trying to save your baby," which will be an important scene for the end. But yeah, it's just a crazy bunch of scenes of maybe that was weird because it's like, who gave Kat those pills? Where did she find them?
That happened 33, I think, is when they started taking stimulants, right, John?
So the first episode
Well,
ever.
in 33, they had to take stimulants, but you have to consider. I mean,
They couldn't stay awake.
68 ships in this fleet. Like, and these are all sorts of all different ships. There has to be.
And there was more people on the ship too.
Hey, I am sure you can find. Rosalind found her Kamala hookup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a stockpile of alcohol somewhere that's coming from somewhere.
So they're all on something.
And so if Kat, if that's her character, like if that's her thing, if she's a stem head, like there's got to be somewhere to find it. It just might be black market.
And honestly, it's an easy chemical compound to make with common materials. So it even someone could make it where it's almost pharmaceutical grade. But these seemingly were in a prescribed bottle, which is also something to think about.
I loved how it tied in because they had that interview with Starbuck at the punching bag before, when she's talking about what she's looking for in pilots, and then when it cuts to the scene with Kat and her landing issues or whatever, they're cutting that in between her interview where she's like talking about how like awesome flying is and fighting and the excitement of it, and how it's like when you come in for that landing, it's better than it's better than anything you've ever eaten or anything you've ever did. It's better than sex, right? Like she's just super pumped about it. And I liked how that sort of like mirrored that portion of the, these are Starbucks expectations. And then this is one of her pilots who's basically doing her best to meet those expectations. Interspersed with the flaws in her character that are caused by her drug use. So I thought that was cool how they ordered those scenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put a
Yeah,
lot of
totally
thought.
agreed. No, like Johnny said, this is such an intense episode. Like, really well done. Really well done.
I definitely agree. I'm gonna have fun gushing about this Monday or Tuesday,
Oh, yeah.
whenever we do the podcast.
Tuesday.
Are we going to talk about the punching bag scene?
Yeah, I mean, don't yell at me.
Stinky Starbuck.
Stinky Starbuck at the punching bag?
Yeah, let's talk about Stinky
Don't
Starbuck.
yell at me.
She gives a good act for the camera, I would say. That's how I would set it up.
I really hope we see hand-to-hand combat between these two ladies before the end of the series.
What, between Starbuck and
Deanna?
Deanna?
That
Yeah.
would be awesome.
She comes out of the occupied bathroom dressed as Xena Warrior Princess. I've been hiding the whole time.
Hiding in plain sight, like her
Dun,
side.
dun, dun, dun,
her-
dun, dun, dun,
like-
dun, dun.
I will
Her
save
official-
the galaxy.
Like her
I
official,
mean, I've got a chick fight thing, but it's probably from an entirely different perspective than you do.
but that whole like Starbucks and beers thing would be like that would be the fight of when Starbuck finds out that she's a Cylon, because the audience knows that she's a Cylon.
Right? Oh. I liked how,
The audience knows that. Are you saying the audience knows Deanna Beers is Cylon, or are you saying that the audience
Like
knows
the
Starbuck
show,
is Cylon?
no, the show watcher knows that that beers is a Cylon, is a Cylon, but we don't know if Starbucks is a Cylon.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought that was what you were
Right.
saying. I was just like, whoa,
But,
okay. where's
but
your-
unless it's both, dun, 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 they reveal to each other that they're Cylons. Ha ha! Dum, dum.
I liked how Starbuck was like kept at her punching bag, but was like super focused on her answer for the interview when she's like asked what she looks for in new recruits, and she says coordination, good reflexes, total commitment, and most of all, someone crazy enough to follow me into combat.
Ha. I'd also like to point out that uppercuts aren't really thrown on a straight heavy bag like that because the angle doesn't work out. But still,
No, it doesn't
um,
work.
still, it's a show. I just
Yeah.
had to throw that out there because I'm an asshole.
Yeah,
Amy,
she
Amy,
should have
would
been
you
a
shut
nurse
the hell
Peter.
up,
She
please?
was doing uppercuts.
Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the Starbucks abs were enjoyed in this scene as well. She's like her physique, she's like in amazing shape. Obviously, if she's doing this kind of in her downtime.
Do you think she breeds nanolons on her dirty body?
Oh, did we see her scar? In that
I
shirt,
don't think so.
in
No,
those
because
pants?
it was from the other side. That was on her left side, wasn't it? And you saw her from the right. Like it was filmed from her right when she was using the punch bag. But yeah, she obviously in her belly top you could see Starbucks abs, so something for the fellas as well. And I thought it was quite funny the way she said, someone crazy enough to follow me into combat, and then we get the whole cat's gone crazy scene. And I thought she was ill at first, because she's sweaty and she's breathless, and you think, oh my god, she looks like she's really ill or something. And we've just seen like the scene with Sharon, and she looked all sweaty, and she was she's all kind of sweaty and she's bleeding, and then you've got her, like, she's also, and you think, oh God, it's like some sort of illness that's going through or something. But then obviously it turns out it's either side effects or withdrawal effects, maybe from what she's been taking. And she's blaming the controls though. She keeps going, the controls are messed up, and I can't feel it. Don't know what it specifically is that she can't feel. Yeah, like when she lands and she's freaking out at people touching her, like, because they're trying to help her out, obviously, because she's bleeding and she's hurt. And Starbuck tries to calm her down by going, you know, it's okay, you're home, and that just sends her even worse. She's like, she shouts, "Home is dead," and she's going, "They're going to kill us all. We're going to die." When they find the drugs on her as well, like that was a big bottle. You know, that wasn't something that would be prescribed to one person. That's the kind of bottle that you would have in a pharmacy, that like a stock bottle that you would dispense a prescription from, like for a set amount. You know, you wouldn't. Obviously, I'm making like a real world comparison, but something like that, you would not give somebody that quantity of those in one go. That's the kind of thing, you know, you're probably giving them a few, and to get the something they've got coming up, like, you know, for a day or 2 days or something. That's how much you would get given of those on a prescription. You wouldn't get a huge great big bottle. I don't know if it is being made illicitly, or perhaps there's some, you know, there's like a pharmacy and someone's been raiding the pharmacy, or, you know, but we don't know what else is going on sort of on the other ships, like what supplies they've got. You know, they're not necessarily keeping all the medical supplies on the Galactica, so, you know, you've got some sort of illicit drug ring to go with the dodgy tattooist. Well, you know, it's all on the prison ship, isn't it? There you go. You've got your dodgy tattooist, you've got your illicit drugs. I don't know what we're going to find next.
You've got your unlicensed guns.
You'll find holes.
Yes, unlicensed guns as well. We saw when they were on Kobol. So
You know there's
yeah,
a brothel somewhere.
probably. Maybe that's how the human Cylon models happened. They're like sex dolls that rebelled.
I mean, that's probably why they're originally invented as sex dolls, as all
That's
things
what
are.
it is. A centurion, like, I don't know, reproduced with one of those lifelike sex dolls, and 6 was created.
Every great invention is made to have sex with first, and it turns into. If you notice, like, really a lot of them
that would
are that
explain
way.
the funny
Oh,
shape of a
man.
centurion's head.
If you go back and look into the history of the vibrator and what doctors used it for, and it was
What,
a doctor
hysteria?
tool.
It
Yeah,
was.
that, many other mental illness. They thought, like,
Medicinal
it's
purposes.
insane. I won't spoil it. Go watch a documentary on that. It
No,
will.
no, I know. Now I'm sounding really dodgy. No, I know. I do know. Used to treat all sorts of women's problems, and but you can't get that on prescription nowadays. So
What, the vibrator?
Maybe if you have a sex therapist, you do.
well, maybe. I would not know
don't.
about that though.
I don't know if your medical will cover the costs, though.
Wait, a movie about what? Oh, the subject I was talking about. I thought she meant like the vibrator movie. Sorry, Julianne. Sorry. Where were we at? Because I just completely screwed the pooch on this. I know we were at a Starbucks interview. Does anyone have anything else to touch on that? And then we'll get into basically back into the CSC. And I don't think I'm skipping over anything. And we kind of see the background of the attack that happens on the fleet.
Did we talk about Adama talking about Deanna seeing Boomer in the medical bay? Because Adama comes to sick bay.
Give me the tape.
Yeah, demanding the tape that has Sharon on it having a baby. Good thing Deanna's wearing a bra.
Yeah. But then she also questions too about them harboring a Cylon. She's like, you know that woman looked a lot like Lieutenant Valerian. It's like, yes. So are you harboring a Cylon? And it's like, so she feels like almost she can kind of put that on in the documentary. It's like, and like it makes it all like calm and serene and all of that stuff. And at the very end, it's like, and the Galactica also harbors Cylons.
Dun, dun, dun.
Like just to make a cliffhanger episode, but
Could there
episode.
be a hidden Cylon factory in the fleet?
Well, we know that there's 8 models on the in the fleet, so there's probably well, they have the Cylon well, the Sharon Cylon factory kind of blew up a couple episodes ago. So, or
her
We love you, Santa.
her uterus is the. Is it a uterus? Like, what is it in her? Is it a uterus? Like, is the biology
It's a
the
carbon
same build?
fiber nano spider web, the one that bit Peter
Microwave.
Parker.
Right, got it.
Oh.
It's a microwave.
You really need to tell us more.
Cooking the baby.
yeah, that she almost lost. Imagine if 6 like.
It's a toaster oven. Get it right.
That's the toast.
Oh no! Oh,
That was good.
Oh no, 6 doesn't like the name toaster. Though.
Oh, the
Hashtag toaster oven.
Hashtag there's a
Oh.
bun in the toaster oven. Well, not anymore. The loaf is
That-
ready. Hashtag the loaf is ready.
That's
But
how
the
it
thing,
got
like,
there in the first place.
I think she must be further along than we realise, actually. And again, this is making, like, real world comparisons because, realistically speaking, if she's having a threatened miscarriage, there's absolutely bugger all that anyone can do to save her baby. It doesn't work like that. Unless it was actually early labour and they stopped that, which, that's not going to happen before it would be viable, if that makes sense. And go on, Clarissa, you want to say something?
Well, no, I was just because this is part of the reason that I was at the beginning of the show today was trying to sort of like recognize the timeline change because we had gone from a bunch of episodes really close together. But at this point, Deanna had said that she had been submitting requests for months for interviews with the Marines about the incident on the Gideon. And Adama was all cool and Rosalind was already settled in and stuff at this point. So it leads you to believe that a great deal of time has passed between the last episode and this episode. So maybe it is time for her to have the baby.
Yeah, because the massacre I think happened in episode 4 or something like
Of
that.
season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been about 4 episodes. Well, 3 episodes if you count, because Home is part 1 and 2.
And they were all close together, right?
Yeah. So and Ty was only in charge for a week, is what she says to Ty, is that you were in charge of for a week and it basically caused mass chaos. So yeah, it's probably been at least 2 months, but then you have to worry, is Rosalind actually closer to her expected timeline?
Oh, yeah.
Unless, yeah. So it's like, She isn't showing, like, the fact that she's, like, kind of closer to her timeline, like, to the end of her life expectancy, but...
Yeah. But then...
Yeah, like, she didn't look unwell as such, did she, when we saw her? She wasn't really in this episode very much, but yeah, I mean, I can't remember which episode it was, but I think we'd said something before about that, like, maybe because it's a Cylon pregnancy, it wouldn't have, like, the normal gestation for human pregnancy anyway. But yeah, if they were able to do something to save the baby, the only realistically realistically, the only thing they could have been doing was trying to stop premature labour.
Yeah.
To my mind.
I think if they had shown more pregnant Sharon at some point in the episode,
Like
then it
more of
wouldn't
a-
have seemed so ambiguous as to how far along she was.
Yeah, like
Maybe they want to keep it ambiguous, though.
Yeah,
Could
to
be a
kind
reason
of tag.
for that.
Like,
But yeah, or maybe they felt that establishing the timeline early in the episode sort of negated the need to bring in a fake belly rental.
hashtag belly rental.
Hey, you got to think of logistics when you work in television, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's
So
probably.
what are the connotations for this baby here? What are the repercussions?
Well, Six was freaking out when they saw the deleted or the cut footage. She was like freaking out that because the Sharon model goes, "Oh, see, she's alive, so I'm alive," and then like Six was absolutely mortified that this was happening. Like the fact that she didn't know, because she was so worried about it. Like at the end of the episode, she's like, "Is the baby okay? Like, is the baby okay?" Like that whole thing. So that comes credence to the fact of maybe Sharon's only used in this storyline just to get the baby, and then after the baby is born into the world, Hilo's like protectiveness is kind of just over, and then Sharon's, I guess, use is also over too, almost. I don't know. Yeah, because it's like my child, almost like the whole thing of. Yeah.
Do you think the Cylons have access to love potion number 9?
What's that?
It's a song, sweetie.
It's a myth. It's also a mythical love potion from like I think what is it, like the 1800s or something?
Oh,
When it
maybe.
started popping up. I can't remember exactly, but
I'm about to make some of that. I got my
Ooh.
bottle ready.
Hey, that'll work. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to rewind back to last week's episode when we were talking to John. And John, you were asking us who we were talking about the Temple of Athena. You're asking who do we think Athena is, right?
Yeah. Who do you think Athena is?
So that got me thinking as I was watching this episode, and then it kind of like hit me. Like Athena was one of the identifying characteristics of the goddess Athena was that she was never herself a mother, but she was a surrogate mother. So I think 6 must be Athena.
That may or may not be true.
Right? Because like
I
at the
can't
end,
say right
I
or
got the
wrong.
impression when they're sitting in the movie theater watching this and they're like, I got the impression more that 6 wasn't as
She was emotional, right?
she was emotional, but she was excited. The smile on her face. She was like, "Oh my god, yay!" And I don't know, just something about her face at that moment, and like thinking about something that I had read earlier because it never made the connection, sort of thing. And then I was like, "Oh, I wonder if that makes 6 Athena. So what if the Temple of Apollo?" Or pardon me, the arrow of Apollo points to Athena. I don't even want to follow through with that thought in my head.
So if you're saying the arrow of Apollo points to Hilo,
Oh, points to Hilo.
is that what you
could
said?
be
That's
an
what you said, I think.
I meant to say to 6.
I
You
think
got
the
Hilo
arrow
on
of
the brain.
Hilo pointed to Sharon, if I remember correctly.
Boy, yoing, 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 yoing.
I think that if the arrow of Apollo was pointed to Hilo, that would be a very interesting episode indeed. I think I would tune into that episode.
Bobby, would you tune into
I
that?
bet you would.
Hashtag Apollo me
I see.
Hunka Hilo.
I see Amy. She really wants to say something right now. I can tell.
I was just going to say, like, thinking of how 6 might relate to one of the Greek deities, that because of she's sort of always about sex and love and stuff, I would have put her more as an Aphrodite type figure.
I thought you
Right.
were gonna call her
The
a hippie.
goddess of love.
Because it's all she
She has
talks about.
patchouli oil.
She what?
She does wear patchouli oil. That's in her backstory. And if you read the BSG Bible,
Okay.
She'd have to
I
stay
think
away
I'm the
from
only
me.
person that has a bit of a fetish for patchouli. I don't think that's a common
I
one.
love it. I love patchouli, the
oh
smell.
no, I'm just saying she's a hippie.
Oh,
Like,
Oh,
it is
okay.
a-
Bible.
I had
Question:
nothing
Has
against
everyone
hippies.
here read the BSG Bible? Because we
No.
posted.
no,
Yeah.
because we're
No, I
Linked in the
didn't see it.
descriptions
we
as well.
didn't want to spoil anything.
No, it doesn't spoil anything.
It's
Okay.
backstory.
Okay.
Some
I
really
have
cool
it
backstory stuff.
Where is it?
It's in the link, I think.
It's linked in the descriptions.
In
I'll
last
put
I
it.
never
episode?
look back at these.
Yeah, that's. Thank you, Bobby. Also, yeah, I appreciate your support. No, I'll put it in the.
I like it. I
chat.
share it. I just don't watch it.
Remind me tonight to throw it in there, and I'll do it. Yeah, and anybody in the chat, check that out. Very, very cool, insightful read that will actually make your BSG experience more enjoyable. So
Mhm.
definitely check it out. With that,
Speaking,
go ahead and talk a little bit more about what the hell happened. How much was your mind blown when they're watching a movie of this shit unfolding? I know it blew my fracking mind. And remember what we talked about last week. I can't go into specifics, but if you remember something we brought up a bunch last week that was a saying of controversy, and that's all I can do. I'm teasing the shit out of them, John. But
Wait a
I'm
minute.
right? It's something y'all brought up last
No,
week.
you wait a minute, Johnny.
Okay, John, can I
If
tell
you
them who
already
said it,
told
but not
us-
what they said? Tell them who's. Help
If
me
you
out.
already
I'm not
told
sure.
us, why do you say you can't? Tell us again.
because
Okay,
we
so
can
last
just go back
week-
to the episode and watch it over again.
No, I'll tell you this. Okay,
Well,
last
because
week
I'm
you
not gonna.
discussed the nature of Six and Baltar. How does this tie in at all? I can't give you too much, or it's almost like just helping you too much. So
Well, give us what you already told us.
I just told you.
We didn't tell you anything.
That's-
You guys said things, and we said you
Oh,
might
I
be
didn't
right.
say anything. I'm sure of it. Now, yeah, you might be right, but you're usually wrong. That's
What
the
is
answers
Six?
we get. That's
All right, what did Six
crap.
say she was last week?
Six
What
said
it-
she was an angel.
Okay, run with that.
If the fact that the sort of Six that's on Caprica is so interested in the baby as well, is it because she's the one that's actually like projecting to Baltar's head? But then, no, she can't be, because if she was, she'd already know about the baby, wouldn't she? If she was, so she can't be, which means that there's other Six models that have this weird maternal thing. And maybe when she says that she's an angel, she doesn't mean she's a literal angel. She means like in a metaphorical sense, like as in a guardian angel.
Right.
And maybe that's what she means by it.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, that's a
Yeah, but
definite
probably not
logical
anymore.
conclusion. You love how I just help you out, don't you?
Probably not. Thanks to the vote of confidence, Bobby.
I find
No. I was. It's Johnny. That's what I hear.
I know.
It sounds
I'm
really good, but
teasing
you're
you.
probably wrong.
I find Six so like she kind of just pops in and out of this episode, right? She's like with Baltar as he's lurking around Deanna trying to get himself an interview, and is all like, trust me, this one can help us. And then she's all in his ear again when it comes time for her, or for Deanna to interview Baltar. And she's like, tell them why you should be the one leading the fleet. You know, she's like, I'm trying to get what she's trying to get, like, from Baltar. Like, is she trying to drive in the direction that he's going to become president? because he's already vice president. That's why he starts talking about how he had leadership qualities he didn't even really realize he had on Cobalt, which means, he killed somebody. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you have that, but there's also
He's a man.
other leader types that will usher in the new era or age. You could think maybe even Moses. You could think David. You could think a
Saul.
few biblical characters
My
and
leader
even
isn't like a
other
religious
mythological
leader.
figures.
I'm also
Go
thinking
ahead,
how
Amy.
she
I'm
can.
sorry.
Oh,
I was just saying like a leader isn't a religious leader. Maybe
right.
what Six is getting at.
He's pretty stammery for that. But I guess a lot of this episode also made me wondering how she broadcasts herself to Baltar. Because we find out at the end when they're talking about the tape of Sharon having the baby, how it was the two Cylon raiders that had attacked, and that they had to lose two Cylon raiders in order to broadcast that recording back to Caprica for them to see. So we know that there's some kind of way that they're communicating off of the fleet to the Cylons. So how are they communicating to Baltar if he's not a Cylon?
Hashtag
Baltar's God.
nanolons.
Hashtag nanolons.
Well, we know he does not have a chip in his head.
We know he doesn't have a chip in his head, but that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
He's
So
Did he
either
test
not.
himself? Did he test
The
himself?
chips
on
in
the
his
side?
balls.
so
At any point?
by deductive
Am I
reasoning,
muted?
that means one of two things. Either Baltar is a Cylon,
He's
or
God.
Six is an entity that transcends the physical plane.
Yeah, transcends space time in a manner of interdimensional species.
Well,
At
which
least
come
his
in
Six
turn.
is.
No.
So what if
Is
the
Six
god
a
is
Time
her?
Lord?
What if God is her? What if
What if
she's
she's-
God?
what if she's the Cylon god and they have to pray?
Oh, you'd
Yeah.
like that, wouldn't you?
But
No, I'm just kidding.
well, she kind of does transcend space and time and air because Baltar is the only one that can see her. The only time that other characters have seen that actress is when she was Shelley Godfrey. So, yeah, maybe she's that. But she's also
Yeah,
said
where the
that I
fuck
play.
is Shelley Godfrey?
I don't know. Shelley Godfrey. She'll show up
And
at some
is
point.
she interdimensional? Like y'all kind of pointed out, that would kind
Is
of
she
explain.
intergalactic planetary?
Yeah, that would explain Shelley Godfrey. That would
Yeah, but
explain
Six
her
has
being
a glowing spine
Nice,
and
John.
she's everywhere.
And if you think about another dimension, Baltar's mind may be open up enough to see the fourth dimension. So she's possibly in the realm of what you would say a spirit is in. Normal people can't see her, but Baltar can because he's possibly sensitive, special. Go with it. I see, Amy.
I would think it's more of a technology thing. Like they've got far superior technology, so it's kind of like almost seems like a sort of psychic thing, but actually
Have faith. Come on, have
it's
some
some
faith.
sort of like projection. Like I wouldn't say it's like astral projection. Maybe it is like maybe it's astral projection and that's what she's doing, and Baltar can see the astral plane, or they don't need a chip. They have some way of essentially kind of beaming their image direct to his head, or it could be because they can target him specifically because they have like some sort of sample of his DNA from him having his fun with Six. That maybe that's how they're able to just target him specifically or something. It could be linked to DNA because they've obviously done all sorts of weird shit with
Well, I think there are plenty of Baltar DNA samples out there.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there's an obvious connection, right? Julian89 has a great comment, but she acted like she knew what was going on Galactica, but Boomer and Six didn't. Wait.
Because she and I were discussing about how in the movie theater,
Oh, yeah.
Deanna was back on Caprica, and I was saying, but there's more than one Deanna, just like there's multiples of the other Cylons.
Yeah, that's what I was going to address. I confused myself. Yeah, she is, I'm sorry, seemingly connected as well. And if you notice, the other Boomer isn't, right? She just found out she's still alive. What's up with that? Now that takes you back to Sharon. Did she? It's giving her a little bit more credence.
Boomer's not connected to anything but a board table.
It was given a little more credence, so she was telling the truth about being disconnected, possibly.
I was going to say maybe that's because she made a conscious decision to disconnect herself, because she mentioned about not having access to some data in the farm. She said that she didn't have the data for something, and it's like perhaps she's deliberately cut herself off so that they can't find her. Obviously, it means that she can't do any sort of communicating with the mothership or whatever. But then that means that she can't be tracked either. So she's cut herself off from it. But it makes me wonder with the 6 models as well then, because the 6 that's there on Caprica watching the thing, if she was the same one that's in Baltar's head, she would have already known about the baby.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah, clearly she doesn't, because she's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And if she was, if it was the same model of 6, she would know, or she could find out quite easily through Baltar, is the baby still okay? But she'd already know about it, and obviously she didn't, so it's got to be a different model, and another one that's not maybe like not connected to any of the others, that's managed to like disconnect from I don't know, like the maybe it's like some sort of hive mind thing where they can all share information. And they're somehow able to cut themselves off.
I was just going to say next week, Dr. Simon, the new doctor, show up on Galactica or something. Oh,
what?
I was thinking about Dr. Simon. I don't know why. Is
that just his name? Is Simon? Is that all we were told?
That's all.
Was he called Dr. anything?
I think it's Simon Sakowitz. I'm making the last name up. To your point there, we have a 6 is disconnected. Is there more than one 6? Type of 6? Y'all have talked about they're seemingly having different personalities as well. Or is it just the same 6 and we have just a more complicated Boomer situation? Kenzie, you haven't said nothing in a while, and she's back. Come on back, Sasa.
Yeah, there's probably the whole thing of like how we talked about, and you've mentioned, both of you have mentioned before, that there's always the subtle differences between all the different the models have different subtle changes and such, but they kind of know about each other, like in terms of each other's storylines in a sense. But the Sharon one was just more obvious that she didn't remember, or didn't like with the whole thing on being on Galactica. Like it's like she wasn't actually there, but she has the memories of it. So maybe that was just potentially one thing that was missed, was the baby situation, or it could very well be because of maybe that one wasn't exposed to that maybe storyline yet, because the 6 models that are alive are just knowing about the baby thing now, because they had to have a fresh one come out of the vault after the whole incident on Caprica, in a sense. So, like, with the whole Starbuck,
fresh babies.
a fresh 6 come out of the the vault. So I don't know. That was maybe one thing that wasn't downloaded properly.
Yeah, could be a glitch. That's something. Yeah,
Because the
that's something we
Cylon
haven't.
system doesn't seem to be 100% perfect all the time.
No. And they do discuss in the theater, like, I think that to a certain degree, they may think they've been underestimating the humans a bit, because, like, they don't just talk about the baby, but they talk about the whole, like, film, and that they showed on the Galactica, or not just on the Galactica, but to the fleet, of, everybody being flawed, and like all the stories that they recorded that Adama said he liked, right? Like in the theater on Caprica, they're discussing, wow, like the people are resilient, they're resourceful, and they almost seem somewhat impressed,
Mm-hmm.
which I like about the Cylons, because it's giving them a more
And yeah.
personable side, I guess.
Yeah.
And they also kind of unknowingly, in a sense, unveil some secrets about like Galactica, and they're kind of maybe potentially their weak points. Like they only have X number amount of pilots, and once they run out of these X number amount of pilots, who's gonna fly the ships? And then Lee mentions the cooks, so there could be a situation. I know that we only have like a few named pilots that we know of, but there could be some where they have some red shirt pilots end up in a freak accident maybe, and they may have to put some cooks on in the Raiders and become like what is it, honorary pilots for a while, because now that the Cylons know that information, that they don't have that many, even though they probably knew that already. It's just the confirmation of that. For sure.
Well, yeah, no, that's a great point. Also, they had all of that footage from CIC and the battle that went down.
Oh yeah, this is a recon mission for sure.
Because they did say that the footage was lost. There was some footage that was lost in the Raider attack or something. They mentioned that there was something that was lost when the Raider attack came, and there was two. So we have to kind of figure out what her number is, and the only significant number that I thought it was 2. So
Welcome, Lauren's Corner. How are you doing? That's
It's only
good
almost
point.
4:00 in the morning where you are. You
Yeah,
and Amy
yeah.
both.
She's got insomnia. She's probably been reading too much or something.
It's almost 5, not 4. It's 10
Is it
to
almost
5.
5?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You're
Yeah,
entered
10
into
to
the
5.
giveaway as well. We got a few people entered into this, so this is going to be a nail biter. And
Oh,
if
yeah.
you stay tuned, you'll see what we're giving away. If not, I'll just tell you later. With
How are
that,
you picking
Bobby,
people?
huh? How am I
How are you
picking
picking
people?
people?
That's still kind of yet to be decided. I might just put all the names.
On pieces of
Have
paper
me watch
into a
me
box.
write the names and put them in a bowl, and then maybe I'll pull them out or something. We'll figure
Johnny
it
and
out.
I just drink and roll dice.
Yeah, we could roll for it. That's not a bad idea.
Nice.
That'd be fair.
you know, it'd be
Al
funny.
won't let me roll his.
Um,
I keep trying.
No, we're picking people by their hashtags. Come up with good hashtags, people.
that too. That is a definite factor.
An extra entry maybe is a good hashtag.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go.
we still
That's a
haven't
good
talked
idea.
about the resolution of Ty's
Oh, we're about to
threats.
get into Ty's kidnapping and your final sum up thoughts of the episode / prediction.
Well, they kind of had to have a bad guy this episode, because we didn't get everyone's favorite Tom Selleck show up.
DM that Tom Selleck.
So they needed like a bad guy, and the person that's kind of like they say, the quiet ones are the most suspicious ones. So the one that had that book, and he's like, "I'm gonna shoot you," like kind of thing. It's like, It could have ended very badly for Staltai, but but who knows? It would have been more of a cliffhanger, shocky moment if a gunshot had went off and we were left on that cliffhanger, like a good parallel. But it's like you don't know who was shot, especially if they did that movement with the whole gun thing and the gun went off. Like that could have been a cool thing, but they had to make it like a good thing and that Ty's able to defend himself, but just a little bit more of dramatic flair besides the end of the episode with the whole Cylon movie theater experience. That was my one thing about that, really. And then it's like, Ellen, you're probably used to being tied up sometimes. So this isn't this whole... She's going to be so shocked about being like tied up by random people sometimes. Anyway.
She's all tied up. Oh.
But on bunch. No, that's hilarious. Amy, would you like to talk a little bit about Ty's plight? And, did he find it a little bit sexy that Ellen was subdued and tied up and she couldn't talk?
Not sexy, but I think the gaffer tape over the mouth might have given him a good idea to get her to shut the hell up. So I don't think he was enjoying it for its potential fun aspects. It was more of a haha, this is how I can get her to stop being annoying and
to stop touching me all the time.
And to just stop saying really awkward things at dinner parties. All you need is gaffer tape.
What do you mean? Take these potatoes, eat them, love them. I will feed you this pork chop. Let me cut it for you. Sansa. I call everyone Sansa. Please.
Okay. That's not even
He's
remotely
like,
creepy.
okay, stop it.
So we didn't actually say anything about the first death threat thing right at the beginning, where it's got "From the darkness you must fall" written on the mirror in their quarters, and it looked like blood, and it looked like there were bloody fingerprints around it. But if you're kind of crazy enough that you're going to go and try and kill someone, because obviously it's obviously implied that it was him that tried to sabotage the ship. And then obviously that didn't work either. So now it's, we've got to tie up Ellen and give Ty a smack on the head from behind. I thought he was going to try and set him on fire, actually, when he was pouring the alcohol all over him.
That's what you were hoping, at least.
Yeah. But no, it's just the way he tipped it all over him. It's one of those things like, oh God, is he going to try and set him on fire or something, and then end up burning half the ship down? He obviously didn't care with the ship, with the little ship that he'd sabotaged, that other people would be caught in the crossfire essentially, and they would have been hurt. So, if he had ended up setting the place on fire, that wouldn't have surprised me. I did think that was a possibility, but I think that was more of he's kind of having a dig at the fact that he drinks too much, and he's talking about how he can't eat and he can't sleep. There were real people, not Cylons, and somebody has to pay, and it's quite surprising at how much it's affected him, considering he didn't actually fire his weapon from what we can see. He was the one that told them to stop. And then when he's saying somebody has to pay, he's talking about someone taking responsibility. And I think perhaps it's more the fact that he was in charge of that while they were there. He was their lieutenant, so he was in charge. Obviously, nobody gave an order to shoot and everything, but they're kind of trying to put the blame on Ty, when in actual fact Ty wasn't on the ship. He wasn't there. He didn't tell them to go and shoot anybody. And as the lieutenant, that perhaps he feels he should have had more control over the Marines that were with him. And when it comes to it, and and Ty's actually puts his own head up against the gun. When it comes to that, he can't pull the trigger. So it's, he's traumatized by it, but it seems like perhaps pulling the trigger's not in his nature anyway. But did Ty know that? Did he really? Did he believe that it was going to be fine and he wasn't going to be shot, or did he not care?
Or did he want it?
Or yeah, that's true. He was so blasé about the stuff written on the mirror. He was just like, well, it comes with the stripes. No, it doesn't. You can't just say, oh yeah, another death threat. It's just what happens. No, it doesn't. That's not how things are supposed to be. You can be sort of disliked maybe for things that like difficult decisions you have to make and stuff, but not to the extent that people are sending you death threats on a regular basis. That's not normal. And for him to just accept it as, oh well, is very, very odd. And I wonder if it's kind of more to do with some perhaps underlying issues of his. Maybe he has got a bit of a death wish.
Do you think maybe he has a Jesus complex?
No, I don't think he thinks that highly of himself.
Neither did Jesus. By all accounts. I mean, he did what he had to do, but he felt that he was just a vessel carrying out his duty, which is...
He was pretty sassy at 12, but yeah, he grew into it.
Who isn't sassy at 12? You've never seen eyes roll so far into their heads as 12-year-old.
I just had to throw that in there because it's funny.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's...
My goddaughter's 11. Johnny is correct. I get
my 8.5-year-old.
Every time I watch her, I get so tweet.
My 8.5-year-old could give most teenagers a run for their money.
Yeah.
The eye rolls are there, definitely. I've totally lost my train of thought now, so somebody else do it and talk about.
No, it's all good. Talk
literally the only other thing I'd written down was that Ty said to him, Gideon was an accident. This is a choice. So he's kind of saying, this is your fuck up now. You got to own it.
Yeah. It's I wouldn't say a simple scene. It's kind of a simple scene, yes, but pretty complex. But how much you can read into it, I don't know. But maybe Ty Saki is a key here. I
found him really calm in that situation. Like he's not. It's not that he's not afraid of danger. It's just that
he was
confident.
Else?
Oh yeah, it just shows how he and Starbuck are so much the same in so many ways.
What about anyone else? I'm throwing you a little bone here.
But when he had the gun up against his head, I got the impression that he felt that he knew the situation that the lieutenant was in his mind, that he knew that Palladino wasn't a vicious killing kind of person. Otherwise the Gideon wouldn't have meant so much to him. And I thought that it was he had him disarmed before the Marines even arrived into the room when Deanna tipped them off that the poetry that was on the mirror was the same poetry book that that Palladino was reading in the bunk. It kind of made me wonder about Ellen. Ellen's really pushing for this ambitious Ty that kind of doesn't exist. It's all her ambition. And she was all helpless. And rather than fighting for his woman, he goes, okay, go ahead, kill me. I know that is obviously a strategy that worked. And it was something that Ty probably figured would work. But I'm thinking Ellen is probably pissed off after this with him over that whole thing. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, it's like
Good point.
you almost take not necessarily a cheater's way out, but you just like you'd rather want to almost risk being shot in the head than try to like protect me in some way. Like it's not like he like stood in front of her and like did that. It's just like it was like, hey, shoot me if you want, and it's just like he didn't. But like it's almost like a ooh sort of thing. So I don't know. Yeah.
No, that's a good point. I mean, you have summed it up really well. I would think I would ask Bobby what you think, what your thoughts are on the episode, and we will take it to Cylon Town. Who wants to go to Cylon Town and Rankingsville? Anybody? Let me get a so say we all. Come on, my friends.
So
So say
say
we
we
all.
all.
No, say we all.
Yeah, don't be too thrilled about it. All right, Bobby. What were your thoughts on Ty's kidnapping, if any? Did you like it? Also, final thoughts on the episode, your sidelines for the week, and what did you rank this episode? I think you didn't
Jeez,
like
you're
this
asking an
episode too
awful
much,
lot
did you?
from me. No,
Oh,
this
come on.
episode was really good. I was a little surprised at the end to see that new person was a Cylon and they gave it to us so easily. Ty,
Did you
probably.
expect it? When her character was
Yeah.
introduced, or during the episode, did you expect it at all?
No, not really. Because, they're all like that. It's like, are they or aren't they? Are they or aren't they? The whole, everyone I see is a Cylon till proven otherwise. It just,
That's
there
what
you go.
Baltar said.
She's
So write
Huh?
down everyone,
Yeah.
John, and then Bobby wins. Everyone. No.
Billy's my favorite Cylon.
So you still got Billy. What about Cammy? You sticking with Cammy?
Yes. Kelly, too. I didn't
And
see her
Callie.
this episode.
Cammy is her OG.
So Billy,
Cylon.
Cammy, and Callie. Yeah, Cammy is the OG.
Rosie.
What's OG?
What was
What?
the
What's OG?
Original gangster,
Oh.
but you mean like your like original pick was Callie, like
Yes.
you wavered from not Callie, Cammy, sorry.
You're OC. She's your original Cylon.
Julianne gives it 10 Apollos and a towel. What do you give it, Bobby?
I don't know. It's definitely at least a 9. How about a 9.5? I can't think of anything.
That's fine. A 9.5 is fine. Let's see.
I think of something. I'll say it later.
Ah, that's good. Just throw it in there when you feel it. When you feel the urge. When you got the need
Yeah, I'm
for
good at
speed.
interacting today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just press down on the panel.
Oh my
Clarissa,
gosh, it's not working.
Clarissa, can I get an eye roll really quick? Your final thoughts on the episode. Fracking ranking. And your fracking Cylons for the week. And yeah.
Final thoughts on the episode. The humans are understanding each other better. The Cylons are understanding the humans better. There's a new baby on board, so they need one of those signs on the back of the ship. And my Cylons this week are Baltar, Doc Coddle, And let's go with a previous one of mine. Let's go with Tyrell. And my rating is, I mean, Lucy Lawless was in it, so this is a 10 for me, without question. If Lucy Lawless is in it, it's probably going to be a 10 for me at every point.
You might have a lot of 10s coming up.
Yay! I love her.
I didn't get that at first. Now I know what you're doing.
10 what?
Yeah. And I give it 10 Cylon Raider transmissions.
Cylon smoke detectors.
Yeah, you know, I said last week, this will probably be my first 10 of the series. Amy, what did you think? Are you crocheting the ranking there?
No, I'm crocheting a flower. But yeah, that it totally fucked with my head right at the end, because I thought that she was a bit of a bitch to start with. Like, she was just horrible, and she was out to kind of paint the crew in a bad light. And then she made that lovely video, and it was all the cheesy music at the end. And you know, she's like, "Oh, look how wonderful they all are." And I was like, "Oh, she's not really an asshole after all." And then she's a fucking Cylon. Just like, why? Why did you have to do that to me? Just when I thought, oh, okay, yes, she's tolerable. That's all good. They just have to turn around and go, haha, it's all a conspiracy. So yeah, that messed with my head quite. I was like, what? You know, you have those moments when you full on shout at the TV and you just sit there going, what the fuck? That was me when I watched that episode, because it's like just right at the end, and you just sit, and then it finishes, and you sat there like, but what happens now?
You're like, did that just happen?
Yeah, and then I just have to really quickly close the whole window, because I watch on Amazon Prime and it tries to start the next episode straight away, and it's like, no, close. And I'm just sat there like, for fuck's sake, now I want to watch the next one, then I've got to fucking wait.
Yeah,
and it annoys me. And
yeah, it gives you
I get
like
all
10
cross-eyed.
seconds, and then
Especially because now that you're doing like the podcast teaser, it was like midnight this week that it had come on, and I was just like, I saw it the next morning and I was like, shit, I don't have enough time on my lunch break to watch it. So now I've got to wait all day until I get home from work, and then I can watch it. And then by the time I'd done that, I hadn't got enough time to watch the episode before bed. I was just like, God damn it. Everything was conspiring against me to stop me watching it this week. And I was just like, oh my God, that's going to happen next week now as well. So it's going to be like Wednesday night before I can watch the next episode or something. So yes, it's frustrating. I mean, that's kind of part of the fun, is that my brain's going to be churning for a whole week and thinking of stuff. But it was pretty good. But that's what makes it a good episode.
Yes.
Look at you. You should be twiddling your mustache.
Julianne just gave the ultimate teaser.
Angels and demons.
Long before the podcast.
10 Real Housewives of BSG.
Oh, my ranking is going to be 9.7 secret bra stashes. It's got to be. Come on, everyone uses their bra as a pocket sometimes. Women's clothes just don't.
I do.
If you're walking around with your phone in your hand and you need to put it somewhere, it's going in the bra.
Why do you think I always wear a waistcoat?
Oh, there you go. When I used to smoke, lighter, that always lived in the bra. The amount of times people would come over and ask you for a light and you'd be like, woo, and they lived it. It was great.
And when the push-up bra was like everything, and every bra had pockets in it for a biscuit. So it's like, if you had no biscuit, you just tuck the money in and your keys. It was a pocket inside.
Amy, you're a club kid like me. That's what boots are for too.
Yeah, boots.
Yeah, but when
like
your boots, like, I'd wear like knee-high boots though, and if you tuck anything in the side, it tends to drop down and then end up under your foot, and then you've got.
Like, where are my bags? Oh
Lauren says she stashes her boobs in her bra.
You can't bend over to undo your boots. Yeah.
Oh,
This
goodness.
is why bras are useful. My Cylons. Oh God, who did I pick last week? Can you
John
remind
doesn't
me?
know. We kind of it lost the pad, but I think
It's usually like Gata,
Amy
Gata,
last week
Cyril.
you picked.
Anyway, who did I pick? Oh, John's got his notes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, John.
Last week you
Ellen
picked
and
Hero,
Ty.
Helen, and Anders.
I'll stick with those again, I think.
Oh
Who's
yeah,
Not moved.
Anders.
I don't think we got any
Oh.
other Cylons in this episode. I think 2 new ones in an episode would be a bit phenomenal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very
They
I should
didn't really
stick with my
introduce anybody else new. So
no.
Um,
Apart from the cameraman, but
I don't think you got more than just his name, but that's about it.
we'll see.
Sasa, let me
Yeah.
get your final thoughts, ranking, and
Yeah.
Cylons, please.
This episode kind of seemed a little bit like, not say necessarily a fish out of water episode, but it just seemed like it was like maybe that we needed like an episode, like either more time added to the episode or like an episode between this episode, because they kind of jumped from the whole at the end of the last episode to just like, okay, let's make a documentary. It's like this just seemed like, unless it was strategically placed that when the show was current on television, that documentaries about certain things were very popular. It just seems like it kind of was like a way to sort of kind of pigeonhole in a Cylon reveal, almost like that there's this person that's like comes out of nowhere who we've never met before and kind of never heard of, and she's a Cylon. Like they could have maybe waited like to do something with that, or just like introduced her before and then maybe done that thing. I don't know, like that one episode with the thing. In terms of her Cylon reveal itself, I kind of suspected it like halfway through, like especially when they were filming the whole thing with the Raiders and how she was like literally running around all the different corners trying to capture every single tiny piece of that. Because she does mention it afterwards that some of that footage was gone because of the Raider. Like sometimes that like transparency was gone because of the Raiders. But it all in all, it's like a solid episode. I'd probably give it 9 stinky Starbucks punching bag scenes. And my 3 Cylons are probably well, I've said what was the last time I said? Last time I said the ties, and I think it was Jada the last time. So I'll say for this week, I still think that Ellen is suspicious. So I'll say Ellen, because she's a real housewife on a military ship. So that's just suspicious as hell. Let's see. Ellen can say maybe, even though I don't think I've ever said this before, but and Tom Zarek, even though we didn't see him this episode. And let's see, who's the last person that I thought of? Why not? Let's go with Ty still. Why not?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Clarissa, did you give yours?
I did, but
I got
Bobby
mixed
hasn't.
around.
It's Bobby.
I
Did you?
did.
Then
Yeah.
we're
You
done.
did. Yeah,
Okay.
you did.
Awesome. No, it was a fantastic chat. Let's talk really quick about the giveaway. Everybody that was here tonight will be entered into the giveaway, and it will be announced on
Hashtags.
next Friday's stream. Hashtags are the king. They will definitely help, but in this first time, everyone that was here will be entered.
Johnny,
Good
what's your
hash-
ranking for this episode?
Oh, I'm about to give it.
Oh, sorry.
You're gonna love it. But and I will show the lunchbox right here at the end. But I'm gonna give my ranking for this fantastic episode, which I loved, and I'm gonna gush about it so much on Monday because I just love these philosophical mind fracks. And I give this 10 tied up tantra O's.
Nice.
Very
Yeah, it took me
good.
a second.
I'm the one
But-
who has to write this shit down. You're making me do this, dude.
Write down my poetry. I'm sorry, that's an affront to all
Good for
poetry.
categories.
But yeah, John, what did you rank it? And then we'll show off this fantastic lunchbox that Julianne89 designed.
Okay, so last week Kenzie pointed out that I had given a 10 before last week's episode, but I did in my favor. I said it was my first 10 for the season.
I must have didn't heard that part.
No, I did. I gave a 10 for Flesh and Bone. I gave a 10 last week for Home Part 2, and I'm giving a 10 this week, and I'm going to go with 10 Beanie Babies.
I just thought that's 10 Beanie Babies. Oh, that's sick and twisted, you dark motherfucker.
10 Beanie Babies for this episode because this is freaking great. And
Beanie Babies. You're great.
I don't even need the Loosely Lawless bump. Like, it's a 10 without her. It'd still be a 10. Like, this is a great episode. But Loosely Lawless makes it like a 10 point. In fact, I'm not even going to give this a 10. I'm going to give this a good shit, yo.
Yeah,
I don't get the Lucy Lawless reference, so maybe when we come back to one thing.
Oh yeah, I'll make you
tonight.
watch just like a montage clip of Xena Warrior Princess, and you'll get it straight away.
Okay.
With that, let's show off the lunchbox to go away with. I want to thank everyone in the chat, and I would like to thank myself for hosting a fantastic show. I'm just kidding. You know, I'm not that fun.
Let's give some slow
Thanks,
clap.
Johnny.
But no, yeah, don't make me feel too good about myself. But I love every one of y'all in the chat. This is going to be so fun to give away. I'm getting one of these lunch boxes myself. Like I said earlier, we'll be giving away one every 2 weeks, and it's gonna be a
Who
fun
knows
thing.
what we're putting in them?
What?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, no idea. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's gonna be a sealed fart for sure. It's gonna be primo. You get to tell me what I need to eat before, like I said earlier. Please don't take me
I'm pretty
seriously on
sure they're
that.
expecting vibrators now.
Yeah, they might expect something. Hashtag clown porn. Hashtag Centurion vibrator. Oh, there was a question too about the Cylons have orgasms, and there's a glowing spine that is evidence of yes, in my opinion. I can't remember who asked that in the chat. I think it was Catherine Harding. But shout out to y'all and everyone. And don't worry, if you don't get it next week, you'll definitely have a chance to get it at some point. Yeah, I won't give away too much, but it's going to be a surprise. Might not necessarily get just the lunchbox. Like I said, there'll be a fart as well. And as you see in the picture, there's an apple. Maybe you'll get that, and by the time you get it, it'll be nice and brown. So I just, I'm very excited about this. Special shout out to Julianne89 for the design. It'll be cleaned up a little bit, but if you notice, it's everyone on the panel right there on the tin. and it's the original Battlestar logo. So you can't beat it. Old style lunchbox, and yeah, be on the lookout for that. Be excited, and we will see you Friday. Make sure to check out the podcast. It will be coming out Tuesday. With that, I just can't say how much I love you. You know, you will be enslaved in the future because I am a Cylon. But, I will treat you well, I guess, right before we exterminate every single one of you. Um, no,
What?
I love you guys. And I didn't mean to clap so loud into the microphone. So sorry for the ear rape. Uh, would you like to go out with our famous line?
Do
Everyone?
we
Hashtag-
do we have to say where people can find us on the internet?
Oh, do you want to do that? No,
Okay. We can. I'm not just
we
saying
can do
like
that. So, you know where to find me. My stuff's linked below. Um,
do you have anything coming up, Johnny?
I
You
doubt
wanna
it. Not that I
plug?
remember. No, there's stuff coming up. The Quickie of Ice and Fire. I have a podcast with the Knight Who Smoked the Laughing Tree coming out. Nooners of Locations and Lore podcast. It'll be a new series coming out. Hard Home is the first installment. Ooh, it is very riveting. Also, AU Pack Mule 30 days of 30 live streams. I'll be on there Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, so go check that out for sure. Mackenzie will be on there a few days afterwards.
About
Yeah,
a week later
somewhere they can
or
find you
14.
too, Mackenzie.
You
El
can
Burn.
you can find me on my channel. Just before this, I had dropped season 4, episode 7, Mockingbird for episode club. So Johnny and I talk about that episode. It's the episode where Peter Baelish makes Sweet Robin's mummy go fly and go flying, and so I have that episode, and yeah, I have just basically episode club after episode club showing up. Next week on Wednesday, we should be doing a season 5, episode 2 or 3, depending on when the other episodes come out. And you can find me on Johnny's channel and here. And I don't know if there's anything else besides episode club that's coming out, but yeah, that's about it.
You'll see us in the next day or two on something that we'll tell you.
Oh yeah, and my day on AU's channel is the 16th around I think 11 Eastern. No, yeah.
Gonna be a good one. Can't wait for that. John, roll that beautiful bean footage. You got that fart ready?
John St. Baptiste, find me on my channel at John St. Baptiste on YouTube. And also the same on Facebook. I'm in Geek Chat. I was incorrect the other night. I thought it was 1,000 subs that were going to get JR a tattoo. It's actually 2,000 subs. So please, if you're not a member of Geek Chat, get your ass over there.
We're halfway there.
I think we can make
I saw a
5,000
conspiracy. It's
subs.
then went up. The numbers then went
JR,
up.
I'm dropping this right now. JR, if we can get 5,000 subs, can I get drunk and tattoo you myself?
Yeah,
Only if
definitely
it's
be
on
there.
That would be funny as
Ambrosia.
shit. No, that would be like the most wrong thing of all time.
Well, you should
But,
do it, while we're maybe mud riding and I'm telling you jokes at the same time.
Oh boy.
I got the reference. No, please come check it out. I just put out the Game of Thrones Season 3 playlist, which I was pretty happy with. It took me longer than any other thing. And this week's playlist will be coming out as always on Monday morning. So I'm excited about that. And we're changing up the format here at Music Makes People Come Together. So give me your thoughts if you check my stuff out.
I think it's going to be good personally. I've got the lowdown. You can't have it because I'm a big tease. That's what the show's all about. Clarissa, I thought I could hear your thoughts for a second. Maybe that's
Oh?
just me. Yeah, too much
Maybe.
clear wood.
Yeah.
Hashtag Jojen paste. Bobby.
Yeah.
Handmade by Bobby in the descriptions. Handmade Master's Corner. Get Bobby 3 more thumbs up and do it now. Share her link. Tell people about Bobby. She needs 3 thumbs up to get to 100, and I am gonna be pissy until you do it. Please. Now. Okay? Don't make me start whining. Hashtag whiny. Bobby, do you want to shout it out? Or you just want to tell me how awesome I am real quick before we go?
Johnny, you're pretty awesome.
People are like, that's how the eye rolls. Is there anything y'all want to shout out, Clarissa or Amy? Anybody you want to give a special shout out to? No.
Just you can find me here on Cylon John.
She's like, you'll never ask me this. I just
my Twitter handle is at Thompson Kootenai Girl, no vowels. And hey, if you're interested in contacting me about making you something, you can find me through my Facebook page for Clarity Bath and Body. So feel free to message me. That's about it.
Should have sent me the link for that. I'll have it in the descriptions next week.
Oh, I thought I did.
Amy, where can we find your flowers? I mean, your crocheted flowers that come off wrong.
I don't sell my crocheted stuff anymore. I haven't done for a long time.
Oh, okay.
I do have an Etsy shop for my taxidermy shit, but it's deactivated at the moment.
Okay.
But, if I do reactivate it at some point, I will try and make you all buy dead bugs.
Yeah.
I am actually wearing my
aimlessly plug
Crazy Moss Lady t-shirt.
Awesome. Crazy, yeah, I love it.
Crazy Moss Lady.
I love it. Yeah, dude. We'll know where people can find you. Find you in
here and Geek Chat.
And Geek Chat. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we will see you all next week, and me and John will see you a little sooner than that.
What?
Maybe while you're sleeping.
Maybe when you're awake, like Santa Claus.
I don't know. Just look out for the lunchbox giveaway. Be sure to tune in next week, and
We know if you've been Cylon or humans, so be good for goodness sake.
And I will tease you the whole stream until we pick a winner.
What do we say to the Cylon god?
Yeah, Cylon gods. Pray to the lords of Cobol. And with that,
so say we all.
So say we all.
Asshole. I had to get in that last word. I still got to stop the
couldn't find my mute button.
We're still live. I'm just trying to get y'all to say something dumb. Good night, everybody.
Bye.